Howdy, Dad. Howdy.
Howdy. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton, on this Tuesday? Hope your trade deadline went well. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
Well, other than the open not firing, which I have no idea why, I'm good. I'm good.
It is part of
Hang on.
experience. You're still trying, huh?
Huh. Here's the thing. This computer is just this happens occasionally where computer B doesn't work, and now I'm a little verklempt to start the show. But that's all right. We'll figure it out.
You want me to just talk a little bit?
Well, no, I can. This is actually something I can multitask. It just freaks me out in that why would it not work? It says it works. It says everything is supposed to be where it is. But you know what this probably means, David.
You're going to have to turn it off and turn it on.
And then it's just going to fire something when we come back on. That's what I like, because I didn't shut this computer off. So we're going to restart it. And my expectations are at some point in the next 2 to 3 minutes, the open's going to fire. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
I must admit, there is something, we're quirky at times and we have our issues, but it is remarkable to me how the two of us are in two separate studios. And once the show is over, we don't touch said respective studio. And yet the next morning we'll come out and something will not be working the way it was the last time the studio was touched.
Yeah. I just heard something. I don't know if it came over the air.
Yeah.
But I got a little couple of beeps there, and I'm looking at a beautiful blue bird on the computer, which is going to lead to this thing firing something here shortly. That's just the way it goes. So, good morning, everybody. Yeah, that's the background. I've got some random thing. So there it is. I can tell right now.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience.
Told you. It's just what I knew it was going to happen. And, yesterday, I've put a lot of devices in this studio to prevent us from having these glitches. Like, it was a great suggestion by a listener. I have a couple of power strips that are battery operated in case the power goes out until my generator kicks on. It should work in theory. Yesterday, we had a little power surge right after the show. And I'll be damned if the computer's kind of blipped. And I'm like, well, they're not supposed to do that. And that little blip right there should have led me to, how about turning everything off and turning it on again? But I had a meeting up here yesterday, David. I actually had a Miller and Moulton sales call on a Microsoft Teams meeting thing. Everything worked. I used the microphone, the headsets. But there you go.
Right. So, oh well. part of our charm.
Yep.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. So the much talked about trade deadline came and went at 6 o'clock last night, although we were finding things out between 8 and 9 o'clock. Man, you got to tighten things up here, boys. Come on.
No kidding.
6 o'clock.
No kidding. I mean, when the NHL's better than you at this, you're doing something wrong.
Right. So, but 8 games in baseball, at least that many trades. And, you know, I'm a little sad this morning because I don't know if it's our relationship with David Sampson. I don't know if it's the fact that, you know, for the longest time, we both lived in Southwest Florida. So we were just, you know, skipping a jump across the alley from being able to go see a game. And I think I saw more than you.
Oh, and, way more. I've never been to that stadium.
You should go. And I said, though, they're above 500. They're a game and a half out of the playoffs. And if the Marlins sell at all, anyone who is in the regular lineup, then I have to be done with them. They're not serious about winning. They're not. Okay? And there were quite a few general managers yesterday who said, well, you know, I mean, we're deep in the pennant race, or we're deep in the playoff race, or, you know, was it the Padres GM who said, we're a game out? I owe it to them to give them the best chance. They're giving me their best. I got to give them my best. Yeah, that's not how the Marlins think. Marlins are always looking for the future. Always looking for the future. Here they are the first few days of August, and they are contending. And if you go back to about mid-June of last year, they've been one of the 10 best teams in baseball. Better than that, in fact. I mean, this team actually deserved you go getting something. And yes, you might have given up one of those valued prospects. Man, I'd love for somebody to do an in-depth story as to how many of the prospects that are traded right around a trade deadline ever amount to, you know, something significant.
Right. You know what, David? I would like to know, and you're right on. And I will say Cowherd used to always have his, you know, he'd do a funny voice. Hot prospects was always his thing. And I've not listened to his show in forever. But he was always, you know, making fun of this. And we've talked about it for a long time on this show, David. I would like to just take the last 5 years of prospects traded at the deadline and find out what percentage of them have become regular major leaguers.
Yeah.
That's all. I don't even care if it's everyday players that are on the 26.
But the Marlins sold off their catcher yesterday. Pretty good player. Do you know the position in Major League Baseball that there's the biggest lack of right now? Catcher. Now, supposedly the prospects they got from the Rays, one of them's pretty good. Yeah, I want 3 of them to be really good. Are you kidding? You're trading away your starting catcher. Nobody trades away their starting catcher unless they're the idiot general manager in Baltimore. But even he's got a reason. His best prospect in his organization's a catcher. He's ready to play every day at the majors. And the guy they got a catcher right now, while a good player, he's going to be a free agent in a year and a third. And they've basically decided they ain't going to pay him. Because let's face it, outside of Pete Alonso, this new ownership group, which is about 4 years old now, hasn't paid for anything.
That was going to pay for people. It was going to be different in Baltimore. Remember? And by the way, not only did the Marlins trade their catcher to the Rays, while it doesn't seem like a lot, David, he has 62 ribbies. Do you know what the leader in RBIs for the Marlins had? Yeah, you guessed it, 62. He was their RBI leader.
Boy, remember when that stat was valuable? Driving in runs. I don't know, still seems pretty important to me.
For the Marlins? I mean, come on. The Marlins, who have scored less than 500 runs this year?
Mark, here's the other thing. You know what's key? Especially for teams like the Marlins and the Rays and, low budget, small budget teams. Control. Hey, we got this guy. We've got him under control for 3 more years after this one. Wow. Yeah. Do you know how much control the Marlins had of their catcher?
I think the answer would be complete.
Mind-boggling control. All right. Liam Hicks is under control now by the Tampa Bay Rays for the rest of this season and 4 more. So he's established that he's a good player, and you've acquired him when he has about as little major league experience as he could still have and have the resume that he has. And he's a catcher, which is arguably the most sought after position in the game because nobody has one. Unbelievable. That's the only move that they made. Yeah. So it's at 12 minutes after the hour that I would like to pronounce my fandom, my interest in, my quietly rooting for, my sometimes making excuses for the Marlins. It's over. They're done. Mark, you may have to do the Kyle Seeloff interviews from now on because I don't know what to ask him outside of what does it feel for work for an organization that doesn't care?
And that's not a question you can really ask a guest that comes on our show for, wait for it, free. It's really out of bounds.
Correct. It's rude. It's obnoxious.
Yes.
Guys, I don't think I can keep coming on your show if you're ever going to ask me a question like that.
My daughter's line would be offensive, and it would apply there.
So I'm done. I'm done. Mark's thrilled because most of the time I'd bring the Marlins up, he'd kind of look at me like, are you seriously taking this show down this road? Seriously? I prepped a lot of good material for this show, and you're going to go there? No, never again, Mark. Nope.
We will go to the team that traded for him, however. We'll talk with Steve Carney, a team that was a buyer at the deadline. The Tampa Bay Rays. We'll also talk with Rhett. Bryan covers the Tennessee Titans as we talk a little more AFC South. Miller and Moulton, the starting 5. Fantasy football season is here, and there's only one place to get the edge. Join Miller and Moulton for the Fantasy Football Summit with Dr. Roto at Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, Tuesday, August 11th, 7 p.m. Get championship-winning draft strategies, sleeper picks, busts to avoid, and answers to all your fantasy questions from one of the nation's top experts, Dr. Roto. Whether you're playing for bragging rights or big money, don't draft without this event. Tuesday, August 11th, the Fantasy Football Summit at Shoeless Joe's with Dr. Roto. Sign up, Miller and Moulton.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Sonny, I'm curious. So you're going to take this the wrong way, but just settle down. Do you, when you have conversations with people, do the same thing you do in the chat room? Because you literally bring up, on average, 47 different topics when you chat. It's like if no one responds to the first chat, you change the subject, and then you send something else, and then you might have like 6 straight tea time things. So I'm just curious, when you're around people that you know, do you just throw out ideas until somebody responds? Because I find it amusing.
To black tip there, yes, the PCA was the Mets' top prospect, and I think it was the first year they got Lindor, and those two are tight. And at the deadline, the interim GM decided to trade his number one prospect in the organization for Javi Baez, who was going to be a free agent in 2 months. Yep. And the Mets went in the tank after the deal. They were a borderline wild card contender at the deal. So, yeah, one of the worst 5 trades in Mets history. And that's saying something. Empire, that's interesting. Who still cares about Hard Knocks? I'm seriously asking. Not
how about Grizzle? How about DeGrom turning down a trade with the Braves?
Had a full no trade, used it.
No, I understand. But
they didn't ask him either. They consummated the deal and then went to him, and he went, no.
That might be part of the problem. I would if I were a GM trying to deal to someone with a no crate, I would contact that person before I called. It's a YouTube chatter, J Gun. Don't worry. It's not no one you see. They just fire a lot of different things, and I'm not. I don't block anybody, Sonny. I merely asked a question. I told, there's anger in that text. I just asked a question. You fire a lot of stuff out, and it generally has nothing to do with what we're talking about on the show, and it doesn't always have to do with what the other YouTube chatters are talking about. It's your own running commentary. Boy, Scooble's getting he's everybody could have traded. He's getting a little defiant. There's part of me that wants him to stink for the Dodgers now. And by part of me, I think it's all of me, but that's just.
I'm just curious if in this year's playoffs, if he's got a 1-run lead going to the 7th, does he come out and pitch it?
David, I mean, don't you look at? I don't think it, unless you're a Dodger fan, are you really rooting for the Dodgers? If you know what I mean, they are the new evil empire.
It's amazing.
So if he comes out after 6 and they lose, aren't you just going to laugh your off? I know I am.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. The starting 5. It's coming up in about 15 minutes here on Miller and Moulton. Miller and Moulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Mark, we got some magic numbers for you.
Yes, we do.
25 days away from the start of the college football season. 25. 36 for the NFL. 5 weeks tomorrow. The Seahawks will be hosting the Patriots. And speaking of the Seahawks, aren't they hard knocks?
Apparently they are. I have been thinking about getting HBO again. I dumped my subscription for a while and was thinking about re-upping a few because the show I've been watching on Peacock, I'm about done with. And then I thought, do I have to keep Peacock? Because there's a good chance at least 2 of my alma mater's games are going to be Peacock-only games this year. When you're bad and in the Big Ten, don't you kind of say, hey, we're going to be on Peacock a few times? That or the Big Ten network.
It was bad enough growing up for you that you got the Pam Ward noon ESPN2 special. Now, if you're getting the Saturday afternoon Peacock game, well, that's the ultimate slap.
Well, you're right, but you know me, I've changed. The fact that they're not good bothers me, but I don't watch. Like, if there's a better game on, I watch the better game. I'm really getting fired up, and I hope, and Gator fan I know will crush me right now, because I'm not a Gator fan. I never have been. But I'm excited for the Florida Gators this year. I am fascinated by that football team. And I'm really looking forward to that Auburn game because they've got 2 cupcakes before. But that Auburn game, I mean, I have circled, and I know it's across from Ole Miss and LSU. And I will probably have the volume on LSU Ole Miss until kickoff. And then I will probably pay more attention to Auburn and Florida. Because the hype of LSU Ole Miss, and, you know, when Lane walks onto the field, after that, it's not just a game, but you know what I mean.
I'm actually a little worried for Lane that night. Seriously, I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm a little worried. I mean, they haven't taken it well. And I just hope that, you know, we can just walk up to the line, but not cross it. That's all. I mean, I know it means more and all that, but just that's all. Just throwing that out there. I mean, it is college football after all. It's important. It might even be really important. Just don't go another step. That's all. Miller and Moulton on this first Tuesday of August. The other number is, it's a week from today, 7 days till Dr. Roto Fantasy Football Summit. There's one way to sign up. Go to millerandmoulton.com. Boom. Done. Dr. Roto for 2 hours. He walks in, he hands you his cheat sheet. That's worth it right there. Oh, by the way, we're then serving you dinner, and then you're going to get to ask him any question you want and write down the answers. And you take that info with you to do your fantasy draft and then to play fantasy GM throughout the year. And he is recorded top 20 fantasy guy in the country for the last 10 years. I mean, they've got the results in Vegas and everything. So, it's our gift to you. Is the gift free? No. But let me tell you, it's dirt cheap when you consider what you're getting. Miller Moulton will make about $19 on this, and that is not a joke.
So maybe 39. I've upped it, so we get a couple more dollars.
Well, you did take control of it, and that's a good thing. And yes, we did it one year, and Mark said, "You're charging what?" And I go, "Well, I was just worried it was going to be a little." He's like, "We don't even break even."
Right. We lost money. Well, yeah, but it's a good event for the listeners. I'm like, yeah, I'm not sitting out here for 4 hours and not getting paid. No offense, David. You can do that. You're good at that.
So that was part of me negotiating for us. And Mark's like, yeah, I love you, man, but I am putting an end to this.
It took me 15 years to get David to quit negotiating on our behalf.
Right.
And the good news is that I think it took Monday, Aikman going from Fox to Monday Night Football for David to say, I've been handling these negotiations all wrong. I need to think about me now.
Well, I have learned a thing or two from the two guys in the booth who last year made $33 million.
Right.
I have. I'm willing to admit that. I was wrong. I'm willing to admit that. I was. One other thing, Mark, is that apparently Hard Knocks returns tonight. And it's a very serious question. I don't know if it's worthy of a poll question. So are you guys still into Hard Knocks? Is that still a thing for you? Or are you like, no, I jumped the shark years ago. It's the same thing now over and over. I'm done with it.
It is, and it's jumped the shark for me because I think the teams, in order to do it, have demanded a little more control. Early on, we were watching guys get cut in real time.
Well, that Jeff Diamond cutting that guy, okay, the rest of the NFL was really bent out of shape about it because that's how you get cut. And they showed it. And there were a lot of organizations that were like, yeah, that's too cold. That's too rude. We can't go there. And the NFL was like, we said we were going to take you behind the scenes and show you everything. You really didn't think we were going to show somebody getting cut?
But there have been moments on that show, David. I mean, Darrelle Revis and the Jets brass meeting at the diner like it was a mob hit.
Like it was an episode of The Sopranos.
That was a spectacular bit of television.
It was.
The whole Saquon thing, leaving the Giants, was spectacular. So they've had, and even, that's pretty recent. So they've had moments here in the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But largely, and look I think people, and I still have a slight fascination with the everyday lives of these guys. I do find it fun when they give us a little bit of the guy being a dad. I mean, even yesterday with Michael Felder on the show, I'm looking at his X account, and he has 4 posts about dinner with his daughter and country ham and biscuits. And I wasn't going to let you finish the interview until I asked him about the biscuits. And Michael gave great answers. Michael was engaging. He's good. He's a smart dude. I like Michael a lot. I could have him all the time on this show. He's an independent thinker, and a couple of things that he said I really liked, but he perked up when we talked biscuits, David.
Yes, he did.
He perked up. You know, he twisted that beard on his chin a couple of times and said, "Oh, I can talk biscuits with you guys." So there's part of me that likes to see these guys in regular life settings, if you know what I mean.
So Hard Knocks tonight. Believe it's the Seahawks this year. They've changed the rules because they've run out of teams they could get that they haven't on before. So that's why I think we're getting the Patriots next year, aren't we? Aren't we going with?
David, you know far more about this than I do.
Well,
I dumped my subscription. I don't know if I'm getting HBO. I mean, I'm contemplating, do I go back to Netflix next month? The wife and I have watched all the stand-up that I think we can tolerate on Amazon Prime. I need a new list of stand-up for the wife. What you need is the starting five, and that's what we do next.
Do you have a sleep problem but don't want to wear a CPAP mask? This is Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. The mask wasn't working for me, and I didn't think I had an alternative. I do. We all do. They have such simple alternatives with greater success than the mask. Visit sleeptreatmentdirect.com. That's sleeptreatmentdirect.com. And if you are like me and your CPAP machine isn't working for you, it's time for a change. Call 239-444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
No, and Tim, I understand it. I get your, if you're not into that, and I'm not really into the soap opera side. I don't care about I guess, the bad side of it. I just find it interesting sometimes to see some of these guys. I like them more. It's something if I watch with my wife and she sees the guy being a good family guy, she's like, "Ooh, I like that player more." And then she may be more apt to watch a game with me. I got you, though. I understand. To each his own. Exactly. And I'm mostly games, but once the season starts, I don't watch much other television. I mean, especially for the first month when you're trying to slide a little baseball in with your football. Do you just do Madden, Jeffrey, or do you do the college too? My son is very much the NCAA guy. Right on. Do you buy it each year, or is this like Madden, whatever, and you're just like, I'm not giving them what is the game now? $80? I don't even know. Obviously, I've not bought a video game in a long time. Tim, are you happy with the moves your Yanks made? I thought when Garcia hit the home run, which was a cool moment. They showed the clip on whatever game I had on. We get stuck with the Giants and whatever last night. Are you serious? I've thought about purchasing an Xbox. I'm not going to lie. No, they did not, Javier. After my son brought his Xbox down and the daughter and I were battling in FIFA, that can be good couch time. I'm not going to lie. I love playing video games. Did it with I was going through all my photos last night, 15 years of photos on this phone. And there is a picture of the last time I beat my son in NHL, and I took a picture of the screen so I can remind him the last time we played hockey, I won.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Steve Carney in an hour to get the Rays perspective. And specifically, since Steve covers the minor leagues extensively, I want to get into all these, quote, prospects, unquote, that the Rays gave up. And did they do like the Phillies, who gave up 3 of their top 5 prospects yesterday? The Phillies are in. We'll see if it pays dividends. Right now, it's time for...
Oh, hang on. You know what?
Dun, 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 dun.
It only takes a second.
Five big stories you need to know. Here is the starting 5.
There are 30 teams in Major League Baseball, which means if there's no doubleheaders, if they're all in action, that's 15 games. Only 8 games last night in the majors. So not a busy trade deadline evening. But the Rays played. They began a road trip in Colorado. Junior Caminero with 2 homers, 1 early, 1 late. And the Rays cruised. Game was not as close as the final score. Colorado scored 4 in the 9th. 13-9, Tampa Bay with the win. They pick up a full game on the Yankees and a half a game on the Red Sox. They're now 3.5 and 5.5 up in the East. The Yankees saw St. Louis's Alec Burleson hit not 1, not 2, but 3 home runs. How about that? I mean, seriously. Pick one ballpark, hit 3 home runs in. So that the next 30, 40 years of your life, when you're sitting around, you've got give me one major league story. Well, there was that Monday night in the Bronx when I hit 3 home runs.
And they needed all of them, David.
Well, in fact, they were trailing going to the 8th.
Right.
They were trailing 7-6, and they put a 7 spot on the board.
I think they were up 6-0, blew that whole lead. Garcia hit the home run, which his first game for the Yankees, and he goes yard. It's like, okay.
Kid who grew up in the city, grew up a Yankees fan. Good for him. Hope he tears it up. But the Cardinals with 7 in the 8th beat the Yankees 13-7. You know the Dodgers have lost 4 in a row? Well, they played playoff teams. They got swept by the Red Sox at home. They flew to the north side of Chicago, and the Cubs doubled them up 10-5. Cubs are now 5.5 behind the Brewers. Pirates went into Milwaukee, got a much-needed win to get back to 500. 4-3, Pittsburgh over the Brew Crew. Milwaukee still with a better record than the Dodgers, albeit a half a game for the number 1 overall seed. Pirates are 3.5 back in the wild card chase. Phillies and Diamondbacks are tied for the final playoff spots in the National League. There's 2 available, and they're tied for them. Arizona beat San Diego 5-1. Padres 2 back of the Diamondbacks. So this is a huge series in the wild card pursuit for both. Edge Arizona, they won the first one 5-1. Arizona and Philadelphia, both 2 games ahead of the Padres and the Marlins. Phillies double up the Nats 6-3 and made a bunch of deals, which we'll get to in a moment. Houston finally lost the game 3-1 to Toronto. Meanwhile, Seattle wasn't playing, so they picked up a half a game. They're 2.5 back. But Texas was playing. They had a big chance to pick up a game, and they lost at home to the Giants 5-1. So the Rangers have lost 6 in a row. Houston's lead in the West is 2.5 games. All right, let's try to go through some of these trades. I'll keep them as simple as I can. The Phillies ended up acquiring Luis Arraez and 2 relievers. All right, Caleb Killian's a righty. Brooks Raley for the Mets is a lefty. They got 3 good players. They really helped themselves at the deadline. We'll see if it's enough. Doubt it's enough to chase down the Braves, but just getting in is big.
No, it's funny, David, how you expend so much energy and time to get yourself back in the hunt, because what was it, 3 weeks ago, they were 2.5, 3 back of the Braves.
Right.
But they started off so poorly that it was inevitable they were going to have the peak had maybe happened. The valley came later.
The Cubs gave up what most people in baseball think was their number 1 prospect to the Mets for Clay Holmes, a right-handed starter, and a right-handed bat, Tyrone Taylor, an outfielder. Well, Cubs need both. They've got injuries everywhere, but they gave up a pretty valuable asset to get these 2 guys, both of them who are only under contract through the rest of this season. Red Sox acquire Orioles catcher Adley Rutschman for 3 top prospects. Craig Breslow, the general manager, said, hey, what these guys have given us, I needed to come through and give them. They've earned it.
Good for him and them. I'm serious. Scooble's the biggest move. Is this the next biggest?
I think so. Also, where you look at where they are, they're 5.5 back now. They're only a game back of the Yankees in the loss column for the 4 seed.
And they keep extending their lead over Cleveland for that 5 spot as well.
Padres acquired not one but 2 starting pitchers. Robbie Ray from the Giants, a lefty. Casey Mize, a power-throwing righty from the Tigers.
I mean, how about that? We thought they were going to move Miller, and what do? They go get 2 starters.
Their GM said virtually the same thing as Breslow. It's like, we're a game out. Can I really give up on the season when we're a game out of the playoffs? Funny thing is, he didn't have much left in the farm system to trade, and he traded it anyway. I mean, you want to talk about an organization that's got virtually nothing heading into this offseason. It's the Padres. And right now, they're 2 games out of the playoffs. The Rays acquired right-handed starter Tyler Wells from the Orioles and catcher Liam Hicks from the Marlins. They gave away 3 prospects. From what I read, only one of them was in the top 15 of the Rays system. We'll talk to Steve Carney in about 45 minutes to find out. The Guardians went nuts late yesterday. The Guardians don't do this type of thing. Not since John Hart was the GM 30 years ago. The Guardians, Mark, made 3 trades. They picked up outfielder Joe Adell, who's the 35 home run guy. They picked up all-star pitcher Foster Griffin from the Nats. And they acquired first baseman Nathaniel Lowe for the Reds. I mean, the Guardians went shopping yesterday.
Yeah, a little surprised about the pitcher. I mean, that didn't seem to be what they needed, but okay.
Their reasoning for doing it, I think they've played 113 games, and their starters have missed 1 start. And they're thinking that their pitchers might be a little tired.
Right. Might need to go to a 6-man type rotation to get to the finish line. Okay. I mean, I get it. I just look at the Guardians and I don't think pitching. I think you need bats. That's all.
To football now. NFL. Bears safety Kobe Bryant looked serious. It's serious, but it's not season ending. Hyperextended left knee, out 8 to 10 weeks. Going to miss 3 to 5 games, it looks like. So best case scenario, he misses September. Myles Garrett missed his 3rd practice in a row. They say he has general body soreness. Boy, he's a little young for that, isn't he, Mark? I mean,
don't we all?
Right. I mean, it's one thing for us, why is Miller not here today? General body soreness. But Myles Garrett using that excuse in his early 30s. College football news. So On3 reporting that Mario Cristobal of the Canes signed a long-term extension. Cristobal signed his contract with the Canes in 2022. He signed a 10-year deal. So he had 6 years left on his contract. Yep, that's not good enough because he was only making $8 million a year. So they tore it up. And while specifics have not been reported, the thought is he's back to having 10 years on his contract, and his $8 million a year is now likely double figures a year. So there you have it. One other college football note. Sometimes us fans actually get listened to. USC and Notre Dame are going to start playing football again beginning in 2030. And this mostly came from USC because Notre Dame was willing to sign this deal 10 months ago, and USC wasn't. Well, after the USC fan base said, Outside of the UCLA game, the only other game we really want to play is Notre Dame. Do you think we can make this happen? So week 1 of 2030 and 2031, USC and Notre Dame will play each other.
What's interesting to me is that Indiana was kind of the catalyst for this because they were able to, Notre Dame and Indiana broke a contract of them playing one another, because go take a look at Indiana's future schedule for the next 4 years.
Well, do you know who bagged on the Notre Dame-Indiana series? Indiana. And there was only one conflict, but they bailed on it.
Right. No, go
right.
Look at Indiana's non-conference schedule the next 4 years.
It's embarrassing.
Yes, it is.
It is. They're playing to win games, period, end of sentence. Hey, Signetti knows, okay, until they keep a team out because their schedule was horrible, he's going to keep making his schedule horrible.
And it's horrible.
But USC Notre Dame will begin. It's a 4-year contract. I hate that it's 4 years. I got to be honest with you.
Why not 40?
Yeah, right. Make it 20, make it 40, whatever. You figure out the damn dates.
And I get it from USC's standpoint of wanting to play it early. I do.
Yeah,
I mean,
do too.
I liked it when it was, but I'm fine. Just play the damn game.
Right. And so they will. Week 1 in 2030 and 2031. And then right now, all they've agreed upon is they'll play in the first 3 weeks of the season in 32 and 33. But USC and Notre Dame will be back playing college football against one another. Imagine that. Imagine that. Biggest rivalry on both teams' schedules. And they want to go back to playing. Huh. Unbelievable. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was Starting 5 big stories you needed to know here on Miller and Moulton.
Playing today with general body soreness.
Yes.
That is something I may use often. I have an ankle that cracks when I walk. It's so bad. And you probably know this, Dave, because it's been since we worked at that building together the first time.
Yep.
And I don't pay attention. I don't even realize it anymore. And I played golf with the guy on Friday that I'd not played golf with in a long time. He goes, they couldn't do it. You're in the hospital for a month and they couldn't put some glue in there, something to stop that thing from cracking. Oh, yeah, that does still crack, doesn't it? You're right. Miller and Moulton, Steve Carney to join us next hour to talk some Rays and, as David said, about prospects. And we'll talk some Titans in the 8 o'clock hour as we continue to move through the AFC South. The Miller and Moulton Fantasy Football Summit is 1 week from today at the Doubletree Hotel in the Bell Tower Shops. Sign up now. MillerandMoulton.com, MillerandMoulton.com. Dr. Roto dinner and all of the fantasy questions you want answered. Fantasy football season is here, and there's only one place to get the edge. Join Miller and Moulton for the Fantasy Football Summit with Dr. Roto at Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, Tuesday, August 11th, 7 p.m. Get championship-winning draft strategies, sleeper picks, busts to avoid, and answers to all your fantasy questions from one of the nation's top experts, Dr. Roto. Whether you're playing for bragging rights or big money, don't draft without this event. Tuesday, August 11th, the Fantasy Football Summit at Shoeless Joe's with Dr. Roto. Sign up, Miller and Moulton.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape. If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller & Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
And Tim, I understand that because that's what my mother does. It's just a random comment, and one never has anything to do with what the previous one does. Well, we don't know until he plays games, Happy. I mean, if you're already saying Golish is a failure, he's not play. We're a month from a game, man. National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day? Ooh. or whatever computer he took, whatever it took, whatever computer he took. I love Cam. I loved Cam. I did. That was a shot. It was easy, low-hanging fruit.
Cam was only at Auburn 1 year, and it seemed like it was 2 or 3.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 with Miller and Moulton on this first Tuesday of the month. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. 25 days away to the start of the college football season. 36, 5 weeks tomorrow. Seahawks hosting the Patriots. Seahawks on Hard Knocks tonight, for those of you that are interested. Week away, 7 days. Dr. Roto and the Miller and Moulton Fantasy Football Summit. Week from tonight in Fort Myers. Go to millerandmoulton.com, sign up. We've had people fly in from out of state for this because they realize just how good this is. And if you're into fantasy football, I don't know if we can give you a night better than this.
So, sorry, David.
Nope, just millerandmoulton.com.
So, you mentioned during the starting five that Notre Dame and USC are playing again.
Beginning in 2030.
Right.
Yep.
So, I want to focus on the 2026 version of the Fighting Irish, though.
Okay.
Because I may be wrong, David. And certainly there are some SEC fans that would probably be able to poke a lot of holes in this argument. And I'm saying that as a precursor because I know it. But I think Notre Dame this year, even though their schedule is soft, it is. I think that the 3 games that matter to Notre Dame make Notre Dame the most interesting team in the country this year. I really believe that. Now, I know there's a lot on Texas and a lot on Georgia and obviously LSU and Lane. The Buckeyes in Oregon and Indiana are supposed to be really good. I understand. But Notre Dame, 1, always has hype because they're Notre Dame. 2, they've got a front runner for the Heisman. Not the front runner, but C.J. Carr is a guy who has a Heisman possibility for those that still care about that. And they have 3 games beginning mid-October that I think will go a long way, not just in determining where Notre Dame is seated in the playoffs, because, by the way, all they have to do, in my opinion, is win 1 of the games and they're in. If they win 2, they're hosting a game. If they win 3, they're the number 1 seed in the tournament. But these games also mean a lot to the 2 other Power 4 conferences that don't matter as much, David. Because Notre Dame plays at BYU and home for Miami and SMU. Well, BYU is picked to be one of the top 2 teams in the Big 12. SMU is picked to be either the 2nd or 3rd best team by a lot of folks in the ACC. So, with that being said, don't those games help to determine who the rest of the 12-team field very well could be?
Well, and you could even start to make the argument that if BYU and or SMU lose a close game, 4 points or less to Notre Dame, will that actually serve as more of a win than a loss and help to bolster their chances to get in the playoff? Or will it just bolster their conference getting potentially a 2nd team in the tournament?
Because I think right now, unless the unforeseen happens, I believe both Miami and Notre Dame are playoff teams. Like, I think you can write it down. That's how confident I am on those two teams making the playoffs. But you look at BYU, David, and BYU in the regular season plays Utah. Yeah, plays Utah. I mean, that's about it in that conference because Arizona State's not supposed to be good. And they play, but I mean, they play TCU, pick sixth. They don't play Texas Tech. They don't play Houston. And they I guess they get Arizona at home early. But they're not playing, Houston and Texas Tech are two of the top 4 preseason teams. I understand a lot can happen. We can be wrong. Someone can come from out of nowhere. I get it. But BYU, if BYU wins the Big 12, obviously they're in. But if BYU is playing Texas Tech and their only loss is Notre Dame, they're probably in. But if Texas Tech and Notre Dame were to both thump them, are they getting in at 11-2? Maybe on the back end. But this is where, I don't know, a 9-3 Oklahoma, a 9-3 Texas. The arguments are going to be strong. And I know, David, we've never seen someone with the 3 in the loss column get in. I get it. But last year, the SEC made quite a stink about their schedule. And what were they forced to do? Add a 9th conference game. So will that do anything to determine who gets these final playoff spots? Because all right, I think Notre Dame's in. You got Group of 5, Big 12 champ, ACC champ. That's 4.
Okay.
Do we get 4 from the SEC and 3 from the Big 10 and then there's 1 left? Do we get 5 from the SEC? Or do we get, does USC have a good enough year that we're talking 4 from the Big 10? So I just think Notre Dame's schedule and the fact that it's easy is one thing. But the fact that their 3 big games are all against teams from the ACC or Big 12 will go a long way to determine how this playoff shakes out.
I'm just waiting. When does the SEC not get the benefit of the doubt? And what I mean by that is that if the Big 10 has 3 and the SEC has 3, and now it's coming down to a 10-2, 9-3, Big 10/SEC team. When does not winning the Natty? When does not even playing for the Natty? Okay. When does it matter? I mean, when do we start really digging down on the SEC? We've done that on the other conferences. We've done it fairly, by the way, on the Big 10. But when do we start to give kind of a look at the SEC and go, yeah, I know what your record is, but I got to admit, I've seen you play. I don't know.
Well, David, then wouldn't some early season SEC games maybe be a little more important in that regard?
Yes.
Like, for instance, now LSU, I think, is around a touchdown favorite, but they play Clemson week 1. I mean, that's a game the SEC needs in their back pocket. They do.
To win. Yes.
I'll give you another one. Louisville, if it's not SMU as the second best team, and maybe it's Clemson, but I just don't think it's there. From everything I'm reading, I don't think Clemson's there. But if it's not Clemson, which I don't think they're the second or even third best team in the ACC, SMU and Louisville are 2 teams that are pretty highly regarded in those conferences. David, Louisville opens with Ole Miss. Ole Miss needs to get that one too. Because I do think, forgiving the SEC for an early season loss, those days are over. Now, we all know who drives the bus in college football and drives the narrative. The same company that airs all of the SEC games. So I know that the ACC and the Big 12, their max is 2. It is. I don't see a scenario where the ACC gets 3. I don't. But if Clemson were to beat LSU and Louisville were to beat Ole Miss, well, they're starting to help their cause pretty early. But if they're only getting, if there's 3 bids out of the Big 12 and the ACC, I guess that's my point, is that Notre Dame to me has a lot to do with where those bids come from.
Agreed. The one thing that needs to be reminded for all of us is there were 2 week 1 games last year that ultimately knocked teams out. Texas lost to Ohio State. That's what kept them out. And Notre Dame lost to Miami. That's what kept them out.
But they're not in the same scenario. They wouldn't be out this year. That little caveat they threw in that the top 12 ranked teams all, if Notre Dame's in the top 12, they get a bid. They're getting a bid.
Well, we'll see if they're ranked in the top 12. Hey, we all know this is like a shell game. Okay, the people doing the voting will take a look at the rules, and in years past, they may have placed certain teams in certain spots, but they know if they do that this year, they'd get a bid, and maybe they'd go, you know what? They don't deserve one. I'm not going to rank them there. I mean, we'll see. They've gone certain places recently. They've yet to go to the 3-loss team getting in, the harder schedule over the softer schedule. Okay, they haven't gone to the end yet.
And I think this is the year.
Okay.
That's all. I think this is the year for certain teams. I think there are some SEC teams that if they end up 9-3 versus a 10-2 ACC, 10-2 Big 12, I do think that the SEC may get the nod this year. We'll see.
Usually they're only competing against the Big Ten and vice versa. So it'd be interesting when the day comes, like last year it was an independent Notre Dame who lost the head-to-head who was competing with an ACC school.
And think about all that changed since then. The ACC has put in one of the wildest and dumbest tiebreakers that I've ever seen. But the committee also said if Notre Dame finishes in the top 12, you get a bid. So just 1 year and more changes have come in the world of college football. Steve Carney in 25 minutes, and we celebrate the best 36s. That's next. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
If
sound.
you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, I thought he was too happy, especially when he attacked my, at that time, 10-year-old daughter. I thought he was special. That is awesome, Adam. That is awesome. Adam, if you are indeed a Yacht Rock fan, I think it's on Netflix. I would have to look. There is a Yacht Rock documentary that, and I'm a music junkie. It's fascinating. Like, Toto is basically a band that started because they were session players for all these Yacht Rock artists. I admit that I'm wrong all the time, Sonny. I actually admit it all the time. In fact, I say it probably once a week on this show. In fact, I began that last segment by saying, I'm sure you can poke holes in what I'm going to say. You're just Sonny, to me, you seem like a very mean, bitter human. You're a very angry man. I don't know how old you are. I don't know what happened in your life. I hope for happiness for you, sir. And I merely asked you a question and you got very angry. I didn't even know that existed, Mello. The mockumentary series on YouTube, that how I mean, the fact that the whole thing got started off of that's crazy. Or crazy coming from that they basically started this little show and it's got a channel on, Sirius. Yeah, Sonny is. He's an angry human. Was it DC? I don't know if it was the like some show they were on was and it was where they did like an a cappella thing. It was like, wow, the three of them could really sing. Sonny, anytime you want to go meet me for a coffee and sit down and discuss how much I suck, I'd be more than happy to sit with you. I would. You can tell me how much I suck and how great you are. No problem. I know. I've been way too sensitive, Sonny. I know. Because no one lets it roll off their shoulder quite like you. Yeah, it's true, DC. Very much so. What the hell? Oh, of course you don't. You are the expert, dude. I mean, how long have you? Are you retired, Sonny? I mean, you're obviously a multi-trillionaire. You probably belong to several golf courses. I mean, you're killing it, dude. Being alive makes me feel good about myself, Sonny. That's what makes me feel good, sir.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Steve Carney will join us in a little more than 15 minutes. We booked Steve because he doesn't just know the Rays. He knows the Rays system. They're minor leaguers. And since the Rays were active at the deadline, trading away some minor leaguers, not stocking up, as is usually the case, but trading away some minor leaguers to get some assets. Then we want to ask Steve, okay, who are these guys they gave up? Where are they on the prospect board in the organization? So there you have it. Steve Carney in about 15 minutes time. Go to millermoulton.com, sign up for our fantasy football summit a week from tonight. Magic numbers are 25 in college till the season gets underway, 36 in the NFL, 5 weeks tomorrow. The Seahawks host the Patriots. Can I just throw one thing out there before you go and do numbers?
Throw it out there. Go.
Since we got onto a little bit of a college football discussion late in the starting five and then in our last segment, my hope is, and I guess some of them are coming back, Mark, but I really want to see the Pitt and Penn States, the Oklahoma and Nebraskas, okay? Obviously, USC Notre Dame's going to come back after a 4-year hiatus, okay? I just would like the schools to give their fan bases the game they really want to see. You've got 3 non-conference games. Everybody will give you 2 wins. Go schedule your 2 wins against whoever, wherever, whatever you want. But come on. Like, it made me smile during a commercial break, Mark. Oklahoma and Nebraska are going to play. They're starting with a 2-game series in 3 years. Great. But like you and I said about USC and Notre Dame, they signed a 4-year contract. We think they're missing a 0 on it. Well, what? You play every year.
Yeah.
Play.
The other one you and I both want, you said Pitt and Penn State. The one that really needs to be there is Pitt and West Virginia.
Yeah.
They should be playing every year. Hey, I'll go to where our audience is. Get over yourselves, South Florida and UCF. Your fans want that game. And I understand both sides. I understand that South Florida, when they got good, threw it in UCF's face, and now UCF's in the Big 12, and they're like, blank you, we don't need you anymore. And both sides are right on that. However, your fan bases want you to play.
Right.
South Florida's about to open a new on-campus stadium. UCF has built an on-campus stadium. They have followings. UCF's done really well, and I don't mean necessarily on the field, but since the new stadium's been built, they have had a vibe about them. And, the bounce house, it's a cool scene. So I'm with you, David. I'm with you.
Ball. I mean, just come on. You got 3 non-conference games. You know the one that your fan base wants to see played. Play it. Come on. You can give us that. We'll give you the other 2. Honestly, you can play North Carolina A&T. And we don't care. 9 conference games and the 1 non-conference game we want to see, that'll work. Let's go. That's it.
Oh no, you can go on forever with I'd let you go out for days on that one. I kind of apologize because I didn't do my homework here as well as I usually do. But what I've got for you, David, in the area of 36s, can I start with one that I saw? And I think this is hysterical. It's not it's for a team, but not a real team. Meadowlark Lemon. I'm starting there with 36s.
Wow.
Hook shot from half court, baby. I don't see a lot of baseball players on here.
I only got 2, and you got to go back a ways. One, you really got to go back a ways, is Robin Roberts. Okay, and don't ask me why I know that, but I do. The other's Gaylord Perry. I mean, he did win 300 games. Like most people, I think when you think 36, you're thinking Jerome Bettis. And
Right.
and I'm guessing, Mark, if you start looking up best number 36 in sports, Bettis is going to get listed. But I have to admit, what's a more impressive accomplishment? 300 plus wins in baseball, 12,000 yards in football.
Well, push? Can I go?
I think Bettis gets it because his numbers when he retired were top 5. They may still be top 5 for all I know. So I think people say he was better at what he did in his sport than Gaylord Perry was in his sport. But I mean, Gaylord Perry won over 310 games. I mean, he won 300 and threw another season on top of it. I mean, that's pretty good.
All right. So I also, baseball-wise, Jim Cott and Kuzman both wore it.
Yeah, that's
Jerry
true.
Kuzman. So, I mean, both longevity-wise.
Yeah, very good players.
Some guys wore it for like a year. The only hooper, Marcus Smart wore it. He's good, not great. Hockey-wise,
Is there a goalie?
Not really. There's a few guys. Now, I will say for those of you that are from Southwest Florida, a tough guy in the first couple years of the Everblades went on to play the tough guy role in the NHL by the name of Eric Bolton, wore 36. Tough kid. Good kid. Tough son of a gun. And Matthew Barnaby wore it, who was an agitator throughout his career. But yeah, you've kind of hit it. It's here are the 36s that I have in football. Obviously, Bettis. Laura Malloy wore it with the Pats.
Didn't Leroy Butler?
Leroy Butler, yes. And he is credited with inventing the Lambeau Leap.
Wow.
So a guy from my hometown played his college ball at Tennessee, left Michigan to go to Tennessee because, he wanted to run track and play football, and then he would become a Raider, Terry McDaniel. Good player. Not great, good player. So there you go. There's your 36s. Not a great number, but any number that's got the bus on it, that's pretty good. By the way, another Detroit kid there.
We rattled off at least 3, if not 4 Hall of Famers, so that'll play.
So there you go. 36 days away. 5 weeks tomorrow. Patriots and Seahawks. I've laughed because David's mentioned Hard Knocks and the Seahawks 10 times, and David hasn't watched Hard Knocks since maybe the first year of it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think the last time I watched.
Maybe the Jets one?
Well, yeah, if our buddy Westhoff was on or Rex Ryan was on, I'm all in. But I watched the Dolphins one because I actually found how they conducted business and what have you. That Thought they made for good television.
So there you have it. And, someone on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line says, didn't Shaq wear it? Yes, 1 year with the Boston Celtics. But that's not his number, if you know what I mean.
Right.
That we're, when it's their predominant number, that it is the one thing with the way players move around now. A lot of them end up with a few more numbers, but we kind of look at it as their predominant number. But you are 100% right. Steve Carney's right a lot. He's next. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You have a sleep problem?
Yeah, I apologize, Mello. I don't know how I screwed that up. I thought I had that up there, and that's on me. So my mistake. So I truly apologize to those of you that missed it and wanted it. I don't know what the hell happened. I came up here and it was literally, yeah, I didn't press one button, and so I apologize. I enjoyed talking to Josh. He was very, I'm all for what he said. I didn't think he had to walk any of it back. I understand why he did, but oh, Clark, guys. I merely asked Sonny a question. He's all over the place when he posts things. Like I said to you guys, I like to use the chat to enhance the show, but when it's not on topic and it's just one topic followed by another, followed by another, followed by 6 when guys tee off. I'm just curious, what is that? How you are all the time? Because it's a little hobbled. Okay, and he got very angry. Whatever. And thank you for reminding me, Mello, because I would have missed it. So that's what the text line, that's what it's for. Among other things, I should say. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, Mark.
How are you?
Fantastic.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Get to make a drive up there next week.
Oh, fun.
Wow. You know, the only thing that sucks about it now is driving through Sarasota. Sarasota has become just hell.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, and I understand. I mean, I guess it's, whatever, Lakewood Ranch and Sarasota's gotten bigger, but it's there's less people there, obviously, than Fort Myers, Naples. And the traffic, there seems never to be a time that it's not packed, unless you're doing it on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, that whole area by University Town Center is just absolutely awful.
But it sometimes can
from
be
there
6 miles.
from there all the way
Right.
down to like Clark Road. It's
Yeah,
you've
it's
got to be
crazy.
kidding me.
And it's both ways, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, it's horrendous.
What hat is that?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes to the top of the hour. We're an hour away from Rhett Bryan joining us as we preview the AFC South this week. He covers the Titans. So we'll find out just how much improvement one of the worst teams in the league will do from 3 to what? With a new head coach, new coordinators, Cam Ward, year 2, etc. Rhett Bryan, 1 hour from now. We asked Steve Carney to come back on because he not only covers the Rays, he covers minor league baseball. He knows the Rays organization and their top prospects at different levels. And so since the Rays this time were in the business of trading away prospects to acquire major leaguers, we wanted to get Steve on to go, okay, so how good are these guys that they traded? So Steve, first off, welcome. He's a Rays insider. Go to Substack and read his work. Follow him on X at Steve Carney, Carney. How are you?
Good morning. I think I'm going to be better today than the Titans are. Let's just put it that way.
All right, fair enough. I do want to go back because I'm trying to pick out the post that you put on X. And did you find out, were the Rays actually interested in Skubal? Because when they didn't get him, you made the comment, and I don't remember which prospect, so help me out with which prospect you mentioned that they weren't willing to give up. And was there anything that you heard, saw at any point that said, hey, they actually were trying here?
Oh, absolutely. They were most certainly trying. I think that if anybody that wasn't interested in Tarek Skubal that had the draft capability and the prospects, capability to do so, is not doing their job. The problem is they had one prospect that they were like, I know the Rays were like, we do not want to get rid of this guy because we believe that this guy is going to be a star. And that is outfielder Theo Gillen. He is number 9 in the MLB Pipeline's top 100 prospects in all of baseball. And so, unfortunately for the Rays, that is their only prospect inside the top 70. And so when the Dodgers came up and they said, we'll give you Zaire Hope, who is number 25, and River Ryan, who's number 68, I said it was going to be it would have been very difficult for the Rays to be able to make a package that was similar without including Theo Gillen, because at that point it becomes quantity as opposed to quality. And unfortunately, the Tigers were looking for quality. And Skubal was not the only player that the Rays were like, we're not going to be able to get because they want Theo Gillen. The Hunter Goodman, the catcher for Colorado, who was also available, Ken Rosenthal had reported over the weekend that the Rockies were also interested in packages that only contained Theo Gillen for Goodman. So he became another guy that I knew was not going to be traded to the Rays because they wanted Gillen and the Rays were not willing to give him up.
Well, let's go back. Start wherever you want. Freddie Peralta, Tyler Wells, 2 right-handed arms, and catcher Liam Hicks from the Marlins.
Mm-hmm.
Who did the Rays give up that the organization is like, oh man, that one's painful?
Really, they gave up one prospect in all 3 of those trades total that I was like, okay, that's a guy that I probably would say that might be a little bit of a pain. And that was in the Peralta deal for Aiden Smith. When they traded Aiden Smith to get Freddie Peralta as part of that trade, he's one of the pieces that the Rays got when they traded Randy Arozarena a couple of years ago to Seattle. But this is a guy that really, he's got a really high upside and, could be a very good major league player, but he's one of those guys where you're like, all right, he's still in, I want to say he was either in Bowling Green or Montgomery this year. So we're talking about high A or double A, and was going to have to be added to the 40-man roster at the end of this season. So the Rays had a couple of guys like that where they were like, okay, this is going to be a roster crunch, and we can use some of these guys and not have to worry about that roster crunch and get some pieces that can help us this year. Trading Smith was like that. The same thing for Tyler Wells. They traded Michael Forrett, who they got in the Shane Baz trade last offseason. And that trade is just very, very funny to me because, in a sense, the Rays have now traded Shane Baz and got Brian Baker, Tyler Wells, and 4 prospects because of it. So, but they trade for it back to Baltimore to get Tyler Wells. It's another guy that was in Double A and was going to have to be added to the 40-man roster. Now they don't have to worry about that either.
All right. The catcher they pick up in Hicks, they've got control, which is a good thing. Defensively, he's not great. So were you surprised at all? Because the Rays have seemingly at catcher been, you know what, defense is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
His metrics aren't great. So is there any part of getting him that surprised you in any way, Steve?
A little bit, Mark, but Hunter Fiducia and Nick Fortes haven't been great behind the plate either.
Right.
So,
no, they hadn't.
So, I think that they saw this as an opportunity to get a player that probably isn't going to be behind the plate very long. They really only need him to catch the rest of this year and maybe next, because at that point, you would think either Caden Bodine or Nathan Flewelling, who are the two top catching prospects in the organization. They're number 2 and 3 respectively on MLB.com in the organization. One of those guys is probably going to be ready by that point. Bodine is really starting to move through the organization. Started in low A, is now, I believe, in high A, ready to go to double A. Could start next year in double A and maybe end in triple A or with a cup of coffee in the big leagues. And Flewelling was the MVP of the Futures game this year. So, it's not bad. It's not bad that you only have to have this guy catching maybe for another year or so, and you still have control of him for another couple of years after that as well.
Have the Rays ever done what the Marlins just did? Have the Rays been above 500 within 2 games of the playoffs and ever sold and not bought?
I mean, there have been, I would say a couple of years ago when they traded Randy Arozarena, they were close. Maybe not quite as close as the Marlins, but they were close. And they decided, you know what, we're not going to be able to keep this is now the spot where we can sell high. And they traded Randy Arozarena and they traded Isaac Paredes. And, that's probably the closest that I've seen the Rays get to what the Marlins did this year. But obviously Peter Bendix, who is a guy that I know very well, feels that, even if the Marlins made the playoffs this year with this group, this was not going to be a sustainable model. And he's looking for something that will give him more than just a 1-year window on the postseason.
Why? I mean, I don't want to go too far because I'm now done with the Marlins. I don't feel that I can legitimately talk about them as a franchise anymore. You're above 500. You're 2 games out of the playoffs, and you're trading away somebody who grades out as like a top 10 catcher in baseball this year. Are you serious?
And on top of it, how many times are the Mets going to be this bad with what they're spending? I mean, I'm just backing David up here, because to me, it's like, when are you going to be in this position next?
Yeah, it's a tough position to be in. I certainly feel for you, David. I just, they just aren't. They aren't going to get past the Braves. They aren't going to get past.
How do you know that? How do you know that? I've seen 83 win teams twice this century win the World Series. Steve, they haven't done enough winning to build for the future, to be honest with you. And I'm not a Marlins fan, but if I was, I wouldn't be today. I'd be done. Okay.
Yeah, I certainly understand Marlins fans' frustration. Losing 12 games in a row will also, right before the deadline will cause you to have this sort of reaction if you're a front office.
All right. When you look at the American League right now, I still see, as long as the Yankees get healthy, to me, they're still the favorite. You may disagree with that. How close are those two teams? How much do you worry about the Red Sox? How much do you worry about the Astros? I mean, when I look at Houston, they're a dangerous team with their hitting. Their pitching isn't very good, but man, they can mash. I know it's a crapshoot. Is this throw them in a hat and pick one out right now, or do you think there's a clear-cut favorite?
I think as long as Aaron Judge and Cody Bellinger and Giancarlo Stanton are not healthy, you kind of have to push the Yankees back a little bit. I think that I think you're absolutely right that when they're healthy, they can be very dangerous. I think that they did not address a couple of the very important pieces that they needed to address at the deadline. Getting Heliot Ramos, and who is a nice bat, but not what you expect from the Yankees, and getting Luis Garcia Jr., who is a right-handed hitting version of Jazz Chisholm, who they already have. I don't think that they did enough. And so look, I was on, I did a piece for another group, and they said that they asked me for my winners and my losers. Then I said the Yankees are my losers because they didn't address their bullpen situation. They did not address their catcher situation. They did not address their shortstop situation.
Did the Rays do enough? Okay, did the Rays do enough? Because they did something. They went out and got 4 pieces. Okay, but did they do enough? Like, we were very disappointed early in our show yesterday. The guy that we've been pounding, Mark louder than me, to get for 3 weeks for the Rays was Luis Arraez. And during our show, he goes to the Phillies. And we just looked at one another and said, well, they better have something else ready because they need help. And they didn't do much. Well, the catcher, I guess, to help the bottom of the order, I guess it's all on Liam Hicks.
Yeah, you would think the Rays would have liked to have had one more bat. You would like to have gotten a starter arm, a bullpen arm, and 2 bats to help, and they only got 1. And the one that I think they wanted was Arraez. I think Mark is absolutely right. He was the perfect fit for the top of the order in the Rays order because he does. And look at what Hicks does, or what more importantly, what he doesn't do. Hicks doesn't strike out either. So, I mean, that's the sort of bat that they were looking for. And the Phillies certainly overpaid because that's what you do at the deadline. They gave up 2 really big pitching prospects. So Ramon Marquez is the name that's going to be on all the lists. I saw Marty Gare in Clearwater this year throwing 102 miles an hour and blowing guys away in the 9th inning of Threshers games. So that's a piece that a lot of other teams and experts won't recognize because he's not on a list. But I saw him in person and was very, very impressed. But they screwed up their defense. And, that's a very shaky defensive team to begin with. And now you're going to put Arraez in the situation, and it's going to move Bryson Stott to third, and it's going to move Alec Boehm to first. It's going to move Bryce Harper back into the outfield, and who knows what the hell is going to go on with the Phillies. How much is that going to screw them up?
Yeah, that middle infield's shaky to begin with, so you're right. It's a great call. He's Steve Carney, covers the Rays, covers Army Navy, covers the Lightning. I mean, we have him on for damn near everything. He's a regular on Miller and Moulton. Steve, thanks so much for your time as always, my friend. Be good.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks a lot.
When I can start going to games, I'm going to tag along with him to a baseball game. That's now my mission. Tag along with Steve Carney and I don't care if it's a Rays game. A minor league game might be more fun.
I was going to say you might be meeting him in Sarasota, Bradenton, for goodness sakes.
We started our show 18 years ago and have been fired 3 times, but Miller and Moulton have never lived on the edge like we are now. We have our best morning ratings ever, are steadily adding affiliates, yet we only have a few sponsors. And if that doesn't change, we can't continue. But if you want to advertise on Miller and Moulton, reach out to one of us directly by texting sponsor to 21,000 or contact Mark on X at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton. You can save Miller and Moulton and make your business some serious money by texting 21,000 now. The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. Fantasy football season is here, and there's only one place to get the edge. Join Miller and Moulton for the Fantasy Football Summit with Dr. Roto at Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, Tuesday, August 11th, 7 p.m. Get championship-winning draft strategies, sleeper picks, busts to avoid, and answers to all your fantasy questions from one of the nation's top experts, Dr. Roto. Whether you're playing for bragging rights or big money, don't draft without this event. Tuesday, August 11th, the Fantasy Football Summit at Shoeless Joe's with Dr. Roto. Sign up, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
He should be back in the fall. I still talk to him. We text. I still stop. Although I don't eat there as much during the non-school year because it's a good spot for me to grab lunch before I pick my daughter up. She goes to school quite near there. I will say to Matthew's point, Tim, I mean, he's a little going hard at you there. But I have a buddy who's a diehard Yankees fan, and we talk Yanks quite a bit. He knows way more about them, like you know more about your team than I do. I've always said that. When's Judge coming back, and how long does it take before he's Judge again? You know what I mean? And I know October's all that matters, Tim. I get it. As long as he's healthy by October, you're good. But no kidding, right? And Left Twix, the one thing I will say, look at maybe the Astros beat the Rays. Okay, I'll even give you that. Are you sure the Astros are going to beat Cleveland right now? Because that's an interesting matchup to me. You guys mash, they pitch. I flip a damn coin. We've lost a few. Just they've, for whatever reason. I mean, I hate that. I don't know if you guys are aware, but everybody seems to think the economy's booming in Southwest Florida, and that's where the majority of our advertisers come from. It ain't. Business is down. I mean, sales are down. Tim, it's a great way to live, brother. I've lost it with all of my teams, Tim. I really have. I thought the Tigers were going to be good this year. I was so excited. I was going to get the second half of the baseball package to be able to watch my Tigers. And they were sellers at the deadline. Son of a. Watch him now go on a run and make the playoffs. God, that would be funny. And I've still got a little bit in me with my teams, Tim, because I did look at the Tigers' schedule the rest of the way this morning. Hi. You want to come up? So I bought a cat toy. It's this duck that has treats in it. And if you press the tail of the duck down, it spins and throws the treats out. Wanted to see if the cats could figure it out. Well, so far they can't. But all of a sudden last night I'm in bed and I hear the one cat attacking the duck, knocking it over, trying to get the treats to spill out. Left Twix, that was long before they went on their run of winning. He said that 3 weeks before they won all those games. And he took it back completely. He admitted defeat on that over 2 weeks ago, Left Twix. On the Astros. You said they should be sellers, and then they went and won
Left Twix,
10, 12 games in a row. And he was like, you can't.
It was longer than that. I mean, I admitted I would have either been wrong or I would have turned out to look great, but that wasn't my intent. How the hell?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Halfway home, at least in Jacksonville and Tampa St. Pete. Final hour of the show. Live Oak Lake City, Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda, Venice, Southwest Florida, Fort Myers, Naples, and surrounding areas. Thanks so much for being with us. We are Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. MillerandMoulton.com is where you have to go to sign up for the Fantasy Football Summit, Dr. Roto, a week from tonight. MillerandMoulton.com. That's how you get your ticket and get entry to the event.
I neglected to really tell you this. A lot's been going on with David and I, and sometimes we miss telling things to the other, and I have certainly missed telling David this as well as our audience this. We are a mere 48 hours away from one of the great half hours on this show. Phil Steele, Thursday, 8 a.m. We'll have him for an entire half hour, 2 segments, like we always do. And we will have Phil Steele on to talk college football. We'll break down all the Florida teams. We'll get into the 3-loss team scenario that we've talked about on the show. We'll see if he tells me I'm full of it when it comes to the Notre Dame influence on this year's playoff. Everything college football, Thursday morning, 8 a.m., Phil Steele on Miller and Moulton. So
Okay.
there. That was really more for David because he's still booking the show. And when he missed a few days, I was booking the show and got this taken care of. And I literally looked at X and Phil Steele talking about being on a show in an hour in Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm like, damn, he's on our show this week. He's kind of a big deal. So for those of you who have never heard Phil before, I think there's no better college football magazine, preseason magazine, than Phil Steele's college football preview. He's been doing it for years. His prognostications are spectacular. He keeps a track record of what he does versus the other publications out there and who's able to prognosticate correctly. His track record over 20 years, the best in the business. He is able to, what just flies out. His knowledge has knowledge. But he talks to damn near every coach. I mean, every coach, not just Power 4, all the way. And he even does a magazine on the football, whatever, the FCS,
Yes,
as well. So he is dialed in when it comes to college football. Thursday, 8 a.m. on the show. So that's something to look forward to. We'll have Seth Everett tomorrow. We're starting to line up our football season as well. For the usual suspects, the Chris Perkins, the Roy Cummings, J.P. Shadrick, Bud Elliott, and I got to lock in David Bierman today because he's hopefully going to be a weekly player on the show as well. We had him a couple of weeks ago, and he was terrific. He's got a new venture out there and wants to help promote that. He's been good to us over the years as well. So a lot going on with Miller and Moulton. The Pelican Roofing of Florida text line wide open, 21,000 the number. If you've never texted the show before, the keyword is Miller. Text Miller to 21,000, and we go from there. Love to get your input on anything and everything we've been talking about this morning. And as David mentioned, the Fantasy Football Summit, 1 week from today. Hope to see you there with Dr. Roto.
So there you go. So what'd you think about what Steve had to say about what the Rays gave up?
Well, I mean, he seemed pretty pleased with how little they gave up. I'm not surprised that they didn't want to give up top prospects. At the same time, I understand where you're coming from. I mean, David, we've been doing this for 20 years. This could arguably be the worst American league that you and I have ever seen. And if worst is not the right word, the most up for grabs American league, if you want to go that way, because I do think that the Yankees are the favorite, providing they get healthy. But the other side of that, as I was just talking with one of the guys in the chat room during the break, David, is that, okay, these guys are coming back. When they going to be back, if you know what I mean? Just getting into baseball is a game you've got to play every day to be good. And when you miss a month, it takes a while to get your timing and all of the other things that go with it. So there are no guarantees. And when you've been hurt, you're more likely to get what? Hurt again.
Well, let's face it. The key guy is Judge.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if Stanton and Bellinger come back, okay, that'll help. That'll be nice. But they're both inconsistent at this stage of their careers. Never mind Stanton can't stay in the lineup. So Judge is the guy. Well, Cashman gave a lengthy interview yesterday. As soon as the deadline came and went, Brian Cashman spoke with the media. By the way, that's how you run an organization. Okay? You got a fan base, a big fan base. They want to know what's going on, why you did or didn't do what you did, what you're thinking. Okay? And so, it's past 6 o'clock. I got no deals to make for the rest of the year. Okay, I'll just, you media guys, get in your bunch. I'll be down there 6:15. Okay, and I'll answer anything you want to know. And they said, well, when's Judge coming back? Now, Mark, Judge hasn't played since like June 3rd. He's missed 2 full months now. Judge is not doing baseball activities. Stanton is, for what it's worth. Stanton's working out. Stanton's on the field before games. Judge ain't there yet. So like you said, Mark, can he get there in 3 weeks? Can he then have 2 weeks of rehab? Well, now we're at like Labor Day, past Labor Day. So that's what we're looking at realistically with Judge. For those of you that, and baseball season ends a couple days earlier this year, if you will. It ends the last Sunday in September, which I think is the 28th or 27th even. So, that's when it ends. So right now, watching as many doctor shows as we've watched and paid attention to Major League Baseball and injuries and how fast guys come back. I mean, Mark, it really does look like the earliest Judge is coming back is around September 10th.
Right. That gives him basically 2 weeks before the playoffs start.
Yeah,
to get into form.
Yeah.
And okay, he's coming back from injury. He is the key to your at-bats. David, where are you playing him? No, I'm not. I mean, because they've got a million DHs and first baseman. What is Judge the DH? How do you set this lineup?
Well, I'm DHing him to start. I mean, he's got to prove to me that he can just do 4 at-bats a game.
Right.
Before I have him running all over the outfield. Plus I may have just enough guys where I don't need him running around the outfield. Now, the other question is going to be like Stanton could be odd man out, ironically. If Judge can come back and you don't want to put Stanton and his situation, worry about him getting hurt running around the outfield, he could be odd guy out. Bellinger,
It's an expensive pinch hitter right there.
yeah, but Bellinger's very versatile. He can play first, right, or left. Never mind, obviously, DH, but he can play a position. And he's a left-handed bat. He's important. But, I mean, this was right from Cashman's mouth. Cashman did say, our doctors, though, are pretty confident he'll be back. How early he'll be back, that's a different story. Okay, how much time will he need to get his timing back, his conditioning back? We'll see. But Cashman said, we believe that he is coming back. He goes, but it's up in the air. We'll see.
So look at, like I keep saying, to me, healthy, I think they're the clear-cut favorite. But we're now in August and no one's back yet. And, Bellinger coming back, that's great. But that was supposed to be, he said, I'm not even hurt. I think I can play. And all of a sudden it's 4 to 6 weeks. Okay. So maybe saying it's the worst American League we've seen is an overstatement, but it's certainly the most up for grabs we've ever seen. I think it's the worst we've ever seen, but I certainly think it's the most up for grabs.
I think in the last...
We've been doing this 20 years. I'm trying to think of another one where the AL has been like this, David.
Mark, I think you'd probably have to go to when only one team represented the league. Quite frankly, you'd have to go back to the 50s or 60s, and it obviously has to be a non-Yankees team. It's awful. No, it is. Well, at the very least, it's staggeringly mediocre.
Right. And oh, by the way, we're adding 2 teams to baseball. I mean, it's coming. Don't kid yourself.
Right.
When this whole thing gets done and they're trying to figure out whether there's a cap, no cap, whatever the case may be, the one thing that the owners want is what I think is going to be $7 billion for 2 franchises.
Wow.
I think $3.5 billion each. I think that's fair. I think 3 for sure.
Wow.
The Padres just sold for 4. Okay, if I put it at 2.75 over under, where would you go?
Whew. Right now I'd go under, but wow. They were hoping just to get 2-2 last year.
I know.
Oh, my goodness.
And why, the owners want it because that goes directly into their pockets. But remember, that means that there are 52 jobs that are created, and you take the 40 man, that's 80 Major League Baseball contracts. That's what the union wants. TV stations, TV companies, I don't think they care, to be brutally honest with you, because the markets that they are adding don't do anything to help move the dial. But they're getting added, mark my words. When we come back, talk about getting paid. Somebody got paid. We'll tell you who and where next. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience, and With a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape. The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real. If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller & Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I literally think the only chance relegation would ever happen in American sports is if we have a super league in college football and there's a way to, like, the one proposal that was out there that basically you had 4 divisions and the one division you could get relegated in. Because Notre Dame and Michigan and Ohio State and Georgia, the usual suspects would never sign up for that. But if you're Boise, South Florida, I don't think UCF would sign up for it now, but they may not have a choice. But you know what I mean. You can name let's just say there's 48 teams in the college football Super League. And the 112 team division, there are 2 spots that you lose. That's the only, that proposal that I read, I don't know, it's at least a year ago. That was the only one where I could see it. Right. But I mean, like Toledo for sure, but like Cincy, I think you got to look at Mountain West teams. You know what I'm saying here? Because like Cincy, they may be forced into it, but if you're a Big 12, and that's the thing, I like Brandon Walker, the Barstool guy. He's funny, very opinionated, but he's a Mississippi State guy. And I think he said it. He's like, does the Super League really have room for 2 teams from Mississippi? Ooh. And when that happens, the conferences aren't going to stick up for their guys. That's the one thing I will say. Is Ole Miss really going to go to bat for Mississippi State in the Super League? I don't think so. Would Georgia go to bat? I know they're different conferences, but Georgia sure as hell wouldn't go to bat for Tech. Would Florida go to bat for Florida State? I think Florida State gets in, but you know what I'm saying. I don't think fans want the talent spread out like that, DC. I think I don't know. I mean, look at the American League this year. Is that enjoyable that we've got all these mediocre teams? You know, there have been a couple of years that the NFL's not had great, and we're like, I don't know. I mean, it stinks for some of us when great's not who we want it to be, but
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Rhett Bryan, part of the Titans Radio Network. He'll join us coming up in a little more than 15 minutes. As our preseason previews continue, we're going division by division. Last week, NFC South. This week, AFC South.
And as I mentioned heading into the break, somebody just got paid, and it's Bijan Robinson, the Falcons running back, worked out a 3-year extension worth up to $75 million, 51 guaranteed, 37 at signing. Highest paid running back in NFL history. Good for him. Good for the position, David. The running back's making a comeback, baby. And Jahmyr Gibbs is saying, I'm next.
Well, and now what will be interesting is, do the Lions go a little more or a little less? I think Bijan's better.
I do too.
And I have no problem making him the highest paid running back in the game, Mark, because I think he is the best running back in the game.
I agree with you. And what will be interesting is, can the Lions, because the Lions are clearly a better roster than the Falcons. So can they sell Gibbs on an extension that's not as much money, close, but the opportunity to play for a winner? Now, they've got to deliver on the winner part of it. But you look at who the Lions have already paid, and I don't think they have quite the money that the Falcons do. But when you look at an extension, David, doesn't matter. Because as we've talked about now for 3 years, there is money flowing into this league. And, David, you did it a couple of years ago. If you just go 8-10% each year to the cap, which is what they've increased it by, these raises, while huge money to all of us, are not as substantial when it comes to your percentage of cap.
Cap's at 302 this year. You want to go conservative, you want to go 8-9%. All right, fine. So let's go 25 million. So now it's up to like 327 next year. Do the same thing. Okay, go about 9%. That's about 28 million. So you throw the 29 million on top of 327. Now we're at 355. Okay. And now we do it one more time. So let's just throw 30 million in there to be conservative. That's 385. So we're going between 8 and 9% annually for the next 3 years. Okay. Do the math. 327, 355, 385. That would close out the decade. By then, most people think we'll have an 18-game schedule, we'll have a brand new CBA, and brand new network television deals. Then guess what the cap is going to be. I think you could throw almost $100 million on top of it. But as we head into the 2030s, the cap will be over $400 million. Mark my words.
What will the cap be in college football heading into the 2030s? Which, I mean, I only say that a little bit in jest, but at the same time, when they're talking like $27 million with this deal, they're not. When do we go backward? That's the part of this whole bill that I'm trying to figure out. We're still going to have I mean, how are we going to run this?
Well,
and why aren't we trying to put a realistic cap out there?
Well, they have to be employees to cap what they make. You can't do it to someone who's not an employee. That's number one. Number two, quite frankly, Mark, the money part of the equation has yet to raise their hand and say, we can't afford this. They've raised their hand and said, I don't know how we're going to keep being able to afford this. But you tell me when Texas, Ohio State, LSU, name the school. Name the school.
No, you're right, David.
That
and David,
goes, we're out.
And I'll take it one step further. Not only are they not saying that, the only time they say anything close to that is, I'm not giving you the money if you still have him as the coach. I mean, that's the time that they've pulled their purse strings in, when they're ready to get rid of somebody. LSU didn't want to give Brian Kelly any more money to go 8-4, 9-3. But what did Matt Moscona say on our show last week? They haven't told Lane no for anything. Anything. This is Louisiana. They can't afford to keep their public schools open, but they can spend whatever they want on their football team because it's the boosters that are paying for the other.
So when will some of the Power 4 schools raise their hand and say, we can't afford to be in this game anymore, we're out? We're still going to stay in the Power 4 conference, but we're not going to contend. I'm just telling you that right now.
What I do wonder, David, is how long's the playoff go till? How many years? 32 or 31? Is that when this thing ends? The current deal?
I thought it was 31.
30. Okay. So if we are right, and who knows, but we have said there's no Super League until this playoff deal's done. I was just talking about it during the break. Who gets left behind? Because if we do, then the conference loyalty goes out the window. To me, this is when it's put up or shut up time, and some teams are going to get left out. And think about the Big 12. To me, they're the ones that have the least amount of money. I could be wrong, but I think they do. If we're forming a college football super conference, who are you interested in the Big 12? BYU's got the most money. They do. Texas Tech has stepped up and said, we're willing to play in this sandbox. Utah's got a great program. They do. Their track record's really good. Who else in the Big 12 is worthy of it? Who else has the money?
Well,
they're every man for themselves if this happens, David.
But there will be 2 or 3 schools per conference that, when given the ultimatum, this is it, you're either in or you're out, you'll be surprised who comes up with the money. Technically, Mark, I looked it up. They're going year to year with the college football playoff system because they sit down at the end of every year and vote. But with the way it is right now, ESPN's got control of this sucker for another 5 years, but they can tear it up. This could be the last year of what we have, who's televising it, etc. But there'd have to be agreement.
Miller and Moulton. It's just one of the things I wonder about because, the Big 12 and the ACC, you can think of the schools that are left behind. But what about the SEC and the Big 10? They've got the most money, but do the bottom feeders get included? Are they wanted? How many teams will there be that are going to play at the highest level? Because I'm still convinced next decade it's coming.
Oh, we've been saying this for a couple of years, that they're going to eat their own within the conferences. Absolutely they are. But first things first, they have to first just get who's in for now. And then they'll worry about 10, 12 years from now.
Remember the Fantasy Football Summit coming up 1 week from today. Doubletree in the Bell Tower shops. Sign up at millerandmoulton.com. Dr. Roto and dinner. Great night. 7 o'clock 1 week from tonight. We'll talk the Titans with Rhett Bryan. That's next. Miller and Moulton. millerandmoulton.com. Fantasy football season is here, and there's only one place to get the edge. Join Miller and Moulton for the Fantasy Football Summit with Dr. Roto at Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, Tuesday, August 11th, 7 p.m. Get championship-winning draft strategies, sleeper picks, busts to avoid, and answers to all your fantasy questions from one of the nation's top experts, Dr. Roto. Whether you're playing for bragging rights or big money, don't draft without this event. Tuesday, August 11th, the Fantasy Football Summit at Shoeless Joe's with Dr. Roto. Sign up, Miller and Moulton.com.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
Forget what I typed, David. I had some misinformation. Hey, man, when you do Uber Air, that's what you get, Logic, man. It's funny, Left Twix. I've got someone who listens to the show and only text. Basically said, unless Prime pulls a rabbit out of his hat, Colorado is out. And they don't. First off, by the time the playoff comes, or by the time this playoff series is over, by the time we get the next decade, Prime ain't coaching at Colorado. I don't know if he's coaching Colorado next year. Like, I wouldn't fire him because he gives them something, but it's certainly not wins. Like, this isn't working.
And welcome back, Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. A reminder, MillerandMoulton.com, that's how you sign up for the Miller and Moulton Dr. Roto Fantasy Football Summit a week from tonight. You don't want to miss it. Bryan's kind enough to join us, part of the Titans Radio Network, as we continue our previews, AFC South this week. Rhett, it's David and Mark. Good morning. How are you?
So Tennessee this year, a lot of changes, obviously new coach, new things going on. But how much do you expect the quarterback to improve based on just the coaching changes that have happened?
Well, let's start with that. Brian Daboll's the offensive coordinator, former New York Giants head coach. And it's no secret in the 2025 draft process was very interested in the prospect of coaching and drafting a Cameron Ward. And so now he gets to coach him in year two. And I'll tell you this, after a handful of acclimation, non-padded practices, and the first padded practice yesterday, you can already see some effects of this as he's worked with him for the last 4 or 5 months. Cam is throwing on time, And that's always huge. And then the other part of this is he is learning when the journey is over. He's trying to get some of that hero ball stuff out of him and save that for the spots where it's needed instead of every time you go to the well. Now, Cam did have 2 interceptions in practice yesterday, one of which was just a very savvy play right by a defender. But his accuracy has been good. He's found multiple different targets to multiple different receivers. So you can start to see the earmarks of growth there. And, listen, that's where it starts. But the real story, gentlemen, is what is this Titans offensive line, which is something they've been trying to answer for a while. Left guard Peter Skoronski, probably your best offensive lineman. And then they've invested through free agency in the draft, tackles, bookends, and Dan Moore Jr. and J.C. Latham, and a couple of years ago in the draft. They have an open competition they're working through for the center position and the right guard position, and they've been going through a bunch of guys in rotations for that. So it really kind of all hinges offensively on that, because if those 5 can't do their job and do it effectively, then it's going to be hard to get over the hump. So here we are.
Was Mark on the right path, though, talking about the impact of coaching on this year's team? It's not something that we often say, but from afar, the Titans didn't look well coached. And Saleh is phenomenal as on the defensive side of the ball, and I think he's got control of that in Nashville. And you talked about Dable. I'm a Giants fan. What he did in Buffalo with Josh. I mean, if literally the same roster performed like it did last year, there's a part of me, Rhett, that thinks they'd win 6 games instead of 3 just because of Saleh and Dable.
I think you're onto something. I really do. Listen, it is evidenced. Of course, we went through a very long, arduous season covering this team. But the proof is in the pudding. And have you guys seen the latest series, the quarterback series on Netflix?
I have not yet checked it out this year.
Okay. Well, let me say this. In episode 1, spoiler alert, episode 1, just a few minutes in, because Cam Ward's one of the 4 quarterbacks examined in this docuseries. And it's week 1 in Denver, on the road against that Denver defense. It's 3rd and 24. They have a chance for Tony Pollard to just they had a chance for him to just set up, in between the hashes so that Joey Sly can kick the points and actually go ahead at this point in the ballgame. And Cam Ward goes over to the sidelines and lobbies Brian Callahan on 3rd and 24, mind you, with a chance to take the lead, and offers, he goes, I want this play or this play. He mentions 2 plays in the playbook that he'd like to be. And he goes, no, you can't take a coverage sack. Well, he goes right out there and takes a coverage sack. Well, first of all, Brian Daboll is not going to do this, and neither is Robert Saleh. I can imagine Brian Daboll something along the lines of, hey, kids, shut the bleep up. Here's what we're doing. We're kicking the points. We're going to live to fight another day. Brian is a wonderful person, and he will do well with Jackson Dart in the position he has up there now in New York. But he was too nice for his own good. He just really was. The Cam Wards of the world, the Jeffrey Simmons of the world, they need alphas to coach them. They have an alpha personality, and they demand and require a different level of coaching, and they are now getting it.
This is a very different team. If I'm looking at this right, I think 8 free agents brought in that might be starters, 2 rookies that might be starters. I mean, that's half a roster that's a different starter than a year ago. I mean, this roster has been completely transformed in a year's time, right?
Well, let's take it a step further. In the 18 months that Mike Borgonzi has been the general manager of this team, only 17 players of the 91 on the roster, because there's a international player path exemption. There's technically 91. 17 of them are all that remain. That's it. So, yes, it's massive turnover. They had lots of holes in the defense, and that's what they attacked with the most money to spend in free agency. They get Cordell Flott from the Giants. They get Alontae Taylor from the Saints. They trade for Jermaine Johnson, who knows this defense, this Robert Saleh defense, is one of the ends in a 4-3 even front. But yeah, they had holes to patch there, and they did it. And then Carnell Tate is going to start because he's the number 4 overall pick. And by the way, as advertised so far in a small sample size, good hands, good catch radius, good route running, good feet. Like, he looks like WR number 1, which is something that this team needed. Calvin Ridley, if you put Calvin Ridley anywhere else in the league, he's a number 2. He was a number 1 here because that's what they had to have after the A.J. Brown trade years ago. The story in the wide receiver group, though, is second-year man Elikiah Manor that they took from Sanford last year in day 3. He's just been a ridiculous, like, he and Chim Dike in year 2 look ready to just springboard and keep doing things. And it's like, hey, you may have added some stuff over here with Wan'Dale Robinson and Carnell Tate, but we're still here. Listen, bottom line, guys, is they have to score more than 16.7 points per game. Yep. They have to have more than 4.2 yards per carry. They were averaging 93 yards a game rushing. Tony Pollard is back. He's the only back right now with 4 straight 1,000-yard rushing seasons. Tajay Spears is healthy. That'll be the two-headed attack on the ground. Gunnar Helm looks to be tight end number 1 with Daniel Bellinger, who they also got from the New York Giants. I mean, Cam Ward has weapons at his disposal. That's why I say the onus goes back onto the starting 5 and whoever the swing tackle is in this offensive line they're trying to figure out. Because the defense is going to be fine. Bob Saleh is going to have that taken care of. Because don't forget, Gus Bradley is the D coordinator in this, the former Jags head coach. They work together in San Francisco. But Robert Saleh will call this defense.
Rhett Brown, Titans Radio Network, part of our AFC South previews. We're talking Titans on this day here on Miller and Moulton. Is it fair, though, for me to say, despite the huge coaching improvement, despite the roster improvement, new stadium, the whole deal, they're still roster-wise the 4th best roster in that division? Is that fair?
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair because, listen, the cupboard was so bare a couple of years ago that it was going – I mean, they – honestly, in all honesty, they need another draft and free agency acquisition period right now to kind of finish this thing out to get to where they're going. No, that is very fair in your assessment because they had the roster had just gotten down to nothing and misses on free agents and misses on trades and, even some misses on draft picks. So, and that really started in the last 2 or 3 years of John Robinson's tenure as general manager of this team. So there's been some long-standing sins of the father effects here, and that's what they're just trying to get out of this stuff. Like I said, I mean, Mike Borgonzi has 17 guys on the roster currently that he inherited a year and a half ago.
I was big on the kid they drafted first overall, Falk, the kid from Auburn. He was all over the map. I'm just curious what he's looked like. I don't see him projected as a starter right now, but I'm just curious how his camp's going and what Saleh thinks of this young man.
So far, so good. I mean, he's just one of those. He's trying to figure out his place, trying to figure out what to do. Acclimation is huge with any rookie, but in Robert Saleh's defense, you said you're a Giants fan, by seeing this stuff and seeing, the Jets up there and seeing Saleh's defense and the 49ers, they rotate the you-know-what out of the front 4. And so that's part of it where this kid's trying to figure out what's what. And he hasn't – listen, he just turned 21 and has not filled out in his body, and he's already 274 and does not look 274 at all. Like, he could be a monster in a year in a building with an NFL program with strength and conditioning and nutrition and all those things. I mean, I certainly understand why they traded back into the bottom of the first round to go get the guy because he's a pup. He knows how to go get the ball. And I think Jermaine Johnson and a lot of those guys can help teach him a lot of things he needs. And one of those being just how to be a pro. Where do I go? What do I do? How do I work out? How do I eat? all those things. But it's early right now. He hasn't flashed in camp very much, but he's just really finding his bearings. I think we'll know more a week from today when they scrimmage the San Francisco 49ers in Santa Clara. And then preseason game number 1, 48 hours after that. So it's on target. Now, I'll tell you, the other guy, if you're talking about rookie draft picks on defense, Anthony Hill Jr., the linebacker from Texas, is someone that you should watch. Number 53. And I actually covered one of his college games last year. It was Mississippi State and Texas in Starkville that went to overtime. He had 10 tackles and 3 quarterback sacks in that game. And this is a guy that has already dropped 4% body fat since he's been in the building and will be one of the starting linebackers in the 4-3 base formation. When I go to 4-2-5, might be a little different, but this guy has the GPS to the ball to kind of figure out where things are going and is making his presence known already. And that's another guy that can fill into an NFL body. They've made some nice choices in this year's draft. Really, Mike Borgonzi, since he's been the general manager, has had some nice picks.
Yeah, because he's a real NFL guy. Worked for a real organization in Kansas City. I mean, it's amazing when they go out and get competent people and put them in position of authority, how much better the organization gets quickly. Rhett, thanks for making time for us. We appreciate your insight. Hope camp and travel and everything goes okay for you, and hopefully we can talk again during the season.
That would be great. And I hope that we're talking about winning some damn ball games. That's just where this thing, I mean, listen, that's where all this is. I spoke in front of a group of people last week, and I was like, they're trying to win more than 3 ball games. Will they do that? I do believe that based on your questions earlier about the coaching staff. You went from basically no head coaching experience to guys in multiple positions with nearly 140 games of head coaching experience. That's just a complete 180. I think it starts there. And then the rest is them not doing silly things and doing the right things.
Rhett Bryan, Titans Radio. Thanks, Rhett. Be good.
All right. Have a great day, guys.
By the way, Titans' final year in their current stadium is this year. They move in, if you will, after the Super Bowl. They'll play the 27 season.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Roddy John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repair.
I knew it was going to happen. I had no choice, David.
Okay.
Everything went bad again. We had a little power glitch on me during the show, and I had a feeling that was going to happen. So my apologies to our audience. And to you. I interrupted you with a commercial.
Oh, that's all right. I think most people listening were like, this is an upgrade.
Never.
But anyway, so this is their last year in their longtime stadium. And then they'll have the Nissan Stadium, I think it's called. And that's where they'll play next year, is my understanding. And then
a long-time stadium. They haven't been there that long.
I know.
It's just, that's the world we live in now.
And then they're getting a Super Bowl.
Yep.
They're getting a Super Bowl.
I only had one more question for him, and it was a food question. If you had to choose one, would you go Nashville hot chicken or red eye gravy and country ham? That was my question, but for another time. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, the Pro Hour on the other side. Thank you so much for listening.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Core-Tech and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Fantasy football season is here, and there's only one place to get the edge. Join Miller and Moulton for the Fantasy Football Summit with Dr. Roto at Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, Tuesday, August 11th, 7 p.m. Get championship-winning draft strategies, sleeper picks, busts to avoid, and answers to all your fantasy questions from one of the nation's top experts, Dr. Roto. Whether you're playing for bragging rights or big money, don't draft without this event. Tuesday, August 11th, the Fantasy Football Summit at Shoeless Joe's with Dr. Roto. Sign up, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
No, Jets. I'm not. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying that I think that Pat's philosophy. In other sports, I don't think it's necessary, but I think in the NFL you have to learn how to be a head coach. Maybe you do in baseball too, because this guy in San Francisco is having a hell of a time. But you know what I mean. Usually you have to. I'm not a big retread guy. I'm not, but we'll see. Yeah, I understand. It just seems crazy that 30 years is the lifespan of a football stadium. That just seems nuts to me, DC. As a guy that went to Tiger Stadium forever and still doesn't like Comerica. I don't think Philly would ever get a Super Bowl, Logic, man. I think the New York experiment was a one-time thing, and nothing's going up north without a dome. And yes, I think because it's Philly. But it was a little before that. New York got one. They wanted to try it, and I don't think they'll ever do it again. Ever. Oh, I know. I don't understand why my system, which is not supposed to shut off anymore, shut off today. And when that happened, it clicked off the phone system, wouldn't work on Bluetooth, so I had to restart that. These things are not supposed to be happening with my new whatnot. I would listen to music, Deadstroke, personally. God forbid you talk to the person next to you.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Final hour of Miller and Moulton on this first Tuesday of August. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Go to millerandmoulton.com and sign up for our Fantasy Football Summit a week from tonight with Dr. Roto. Millerandmoulton.com is how you get registered.
So, David, I don't know if you saw this story. I've been wanting to talk about it all day, and just kind of we got on other things and doing other stuff, and segments kind of run themselves at times. But are you aware of what happened with the Boston College men's basketball program?
No.
So they hired Luke Murray. He's a longtime UConn assistant to be the new head coach.
Right.
And he put a mandate out to shed any remnants of the past. Therefore, Kevin Collins and Josh Mauer, who are the longtime radio voices of BC basketball, were fired. Collins had been there for 13 seasons. Mauer had been there for 9 years. They tried to meet with him. They apparently tried multiple times to meet the head coach. You know, they're the radio broadcasters. And their multimedia rights partner offered catered lunches and were turned away constantly. We have an official visit. Coach Murray's off recruiting. Whatever the case may be. They never met with him. He never met with them. And they were fired.
Well,
they're the radio voices of the team.
Can't root against Boston College men's basketball enough then, can you?
Thank you. 4-26.
I mean, I'd at least like a meeting, Mark, to know, so how many of the 26 are on us?
Right. They have a losing mentality, apparently.
The broadcasters?
Yep.
How do you know? You were coaching in stores. You never listened to one of their games. That's just crap.
Yes, it is. Kevin Collins, who had been there for 13 years, said he's a young head coach, no experience, and he's been given the power to take two guys' careers away from them who have done nothing but try to serve the program and promote the program. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Apparently, the deputy athletic director was told by the coach that he did not want anyone in the travel party who'd been of what was described as the program's losing mentality. Their last head coach, Earl Grant, was 72-92 over the last 5 years. So if you're looking for someone to root against this year, Boston College is at the top of my list. By the way, for the record, I don't think you can win there, period. In anything but men's and I'm guessing the women's hockey program's good. I'm not even going to say that because I don't know. I don't follow it. I don't think you can win at anything there but hockey. Maybe, maybe rowing's big. I don't know. But do you think they can ever win at football there?
Not again, no.
Me either. Like when we were talking Super League last hour, why would Boston College be a part of that?
They shouldn't be.
Right.
They should accept what they are and move down a half a notch and pay for the sports that they can be good at. Now that the system is what it is, it's very difficult to see Boston College being able to compete in it. I mean, the irony, Mark, is 20 plus years later, you know what those schools need to do. They need to drop back to the Big East and play Big East football. But they all got up and left.
By the way, how soft's this AD? Like, seriously. This deputy AD who just said, yeah, you can fire the radio guys. Yeah, they've been there. It's their careers. He's only been here 13 years, but bye. You're fired. Like, I'm serious.
I totally agree with you.
Thanks, boss. Really appreciate it.
I totally agree with you. I mean,
never got to meet the coach, never got to speak their case.
I'll be honest with you. Who's the media company? I mean, this is where they should get involved too and go, yeah, we like those guys. And we're paying you money for these broadcasts. You're not paying us. So work on the shooting guard. We'll handle the broadcast.
Absolutely crazy.
I mean, should the AD who hired him be gone?
Well, isn't he part of the losing mentality? And look not to mention, all right, I'm doing this and I apologize to any of you that I piss off for doing this. What kind of school is BC again? Private Catholic school last time I checked, right?
Yes, very much so.
Just checking. Doesn't seem to, that directive doesn't seem to, and I would have to look it up quickly, but my guess is whatever the university motto or what they live by at that school, this seems to be the opposite of that.
Yes.
That's just my guess.
Yes. Can't imagine a private Catholic school that would condone this.
Right.
I honestly can't believe the university president hasn't stepped in and went, okay, I get what you're thinking in theory, but what you're doing in reality is rude, arrogant, asinine, and makes us look bad. Besides that, I think it's a hell of an idea.
So Van Wagner is the media company. I've never heard of them.
No, me neither.
They do sales for, as far as colleges that you actually care about, Arizona State, BC. They actually do FIUs. They control that. I mean, a bunch of ASUN schools and MAC schools. So not a lot really, but they handle South Florida. They do a lot with the American. So interesting. But they, I think, are just a sales arm. Like they're not hiring broadcasters. They are just responsible for the sales of the network. But good luck selling BC basketball, because I'll tell you what, when you're a bad program, the broadcasters do mean, David and I have talked about this for years. When a team's great, the broadcasters don't matter nearly as much. When a team's lousy, and we talked about this with the Marlins years ago, that's how you got through it, a good announcer. So, BC basketball, good luck, guys. I can't say I'm rooting for you.
No way. Something I meant to get to yesterday. It involves unwritten rule in baseball. Did you see what happened? I think it was Sunday night.
Yes, I did. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's Arizona and Cleveland. It was in Cleveland. Arizona had won the first 2 games of the series. Not that that's relevant, but I just wanted to paint the picture, like those fired radio guys would do. And so apparently the Cleveland pitcher has a perfect game through 5. And Cleveland's winning like 4-0. And the pitcher's got a perfect game through 5. And leading off the 6th inning, this Wawi, some guy for Arizona, he asked his manager, is it okay if I bunt here to try to get something started? And the manager goes, yes. Okay. And he even explained to the kid, he goes, the unwritten rule is, all right, anything in the first 6 innings. Once you get through 6 and the lineup twice with a no or a perfect game, then you're really frowned upon to do something out of the ordinary. Okay.
Tim Pawa is the kid's name. Left fielder. Okay, just trying to let you know, center fielder, just so you know who it is.
So he attempts a bunt and it goes foul. And apparently the Cleveland dugout's losing their mind.
Catcher lost his mind. Catcher said something right away. When I watch the video, you can see the catcher say something.
And the guy's saying to him, I asked my manager and everything, and the catcher doesn't want to hear it. Okay. I believe he's the kid who broke up the perfect game.
He ends up getting a single at bat.
Right. So, in a way it didn't matter. But man, Cleveland was bent to shape. I agree with the Arizona manager, who, for what it's worth, the Cleveland manager used to be part of the Diamondbacks organization and is very good friends with the Arizona manager. And it's Torey Lovello, right, with the Diamondbacks? Okay, he came out and said, guys, I've been in Major League Baseball 40 years. Okay, I'm telling you, there is nothing wrong with bunting in the 6th inning of a game.
It was 5-0. The irony is not only does he give up the hit, but in that inning, I believe, in the top of the 6th inning, it starts pouring and they have a rain delay and they bring the tarps out on the field.
Right.
And the 2 teams, while the tarps are getting rolled out onto the field, the bench is empty. Nothing happened, but just a lot of jaw jacking.
So I don't think the Diamondbacks were in the wrong at all.
At 5-0?
In the 6th?
I'm just saying.
No, not at all. No. He's not even through the lineup twice. No, absolutely not.
The other thing I'll defend you and they on, 1, we score runs in bunches now. But 2, these teams are both in a pennant race.
Right.
This isn't like Arizona's Kansas City, if you know what I mean.
No, both teams are the 6th seed in their respective leagues.
Right.
So
look at David going unwritten rules and saying, damn it, it's the 6th. Lay a bunt down. Huh?
Yeah.
I didn't expect that when I heard unwritten rules. Didn't think he'd be on that side of it. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
All right, since my memory's completely gone today, what the hell do we do in the 8 o'clock hour before Rhett, Bryan?
Oh,
College football playoff was one of them.
damn.
I know I should have that. That's on me. I should be better than that, and I don't have.
Well, I should be better.
Did we do Notre Dame USC 8 o'clock hour? Tim, you may be right.
Did we wait till then? So it wasn't in the 7?
I don't know. I know we did college football playoff. And you already unloaded on the Marlins. That was the hour before. I think we did good.
Well, then we did do, but I thought we combined Notre Dame USC in with a this year in college football discussion.
Yeah, that's fine. I can. That works. That's good enough.
Yes, he did. They didn't say how long and how much, but he had 6 years left on his contract, so I'm guessing they put it back up to the 10 that he
Don't need
originally
it.
signed.
No need, Deathstroke. I got enough there.
And I'll bet you now Mario's making over 10 million a year when he was making 8. Oh. Jeez. Oh.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. 15 minutes away from the good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when. Some final thoughts, a pick or two. It is an interesting night in baseball, Mark, for this reason. You only had half the league that played last night. You got 7 new series that begin tonight.
Look I am curious to see what some teams that didn't make moves or big moves, what happens.
I'm curious in Baltimore.
Right.
I mean, they traded away Rushman. I think he was the most popular guy on the team.
And by the way, attendance was way down there this year, David. What happens now? Who shows up? Like, Detroit. Who shows up to go watch that team now? I mean, I don't blame them for trading Skubal. I don't. I'm on the side that I would have gotten rid of them. I don't know if they were going to get in the playoffs. I don't think they were good enough. You're losing them. I have no issue with it. But now Skubal and Mize are both gone. Okay, why are we showing up? And how does the rest of the team react in Baltimore, Detroit? For that matter, Pittsburgh was planning on doing, I don't know what they did that gets anybody excited. So I am curious.
You know what is amazing? And I didn't, if I'm taking us down a path you don't want to go, we can just stop here. But do you know the Tigers are 2.5 out of the wild card?
Yeah, I do.
2.5.
But would you have done the same thing if you were Detroit?
It would have depended on how good that prospect is. And I'm being serious. That I knew when they blew that 7-0 game last Wednesday that was going to cost them Skubal. Okay, because if you look at the math, if you give them that game, you look at where they are in the standings and what have you, I think they suck it up. But I mean, Mark, they're 2.5 behind the Cleveland Guardians. We ain't talking about, the 98 Yankees here.
Oh, no. I mean, look there's Mariners, the Orioles, the Tigers, the Blue Jays. They're just a bunch of They really are.
Yeah. And one of them is apparently going to make the playoffs. Maybe 2.
Probably 1. I mean, probably 1. But you're right. There's no reason to think that this big 3-game lead the Red Sox or the White Sox have on the division is going to hold. I'm still the eternal optimist when it comes to my teams. I don't know about that. I at least try. I shouldn't say that I'm an eternal optimist on my team, but I at least try. You know what I did this morning, David? after I got up and I went through the trades and I got the coffee ready and I got us hooked up here online, I looked at the Tigers' schedule. The rest of the season, I went through the whole thing. I'm like, wow, they got 2 series with Cleveland. They got 2 series with Chicago. Other than that, they really don't play anybody. I think they have 1 with the Rays. It's like, I mean, how do you take how do you take anybody seriously in baseball? So do I think they're going to make the postseason? No. But by the way, they do have the Dodgers coming in for 3. God, I hope Scooble's pitching one of those 3.
That'd be great. That would be great. Because his day to pitch was yesterday. Because he pitched Wednesday of last week. So either, depending on if you want to 4-day it or 5-day it, his day to pitch was either yesterday or today. Do they give him an extra day because, he got traded and moving and what have you?
He's pitching today.
There you go.
And by the way, it's at the Cubs. Apparently, he's never pitched in Wrigley before.
No.
I don't know. This is one of those. I'm awful. I want to see the ball flying out of Wrigley today. Don't know what to tell you. Fly that W, Cubbies. Go get it done.
Well, did last night.
So I am at, the Guardians win as all in as they have in a while. Can they catch the White Sox? Can the White Sox keep doing what they've been doing, which is amazing?
Well, and even if they don't catch them, if they just hold on to the 6th seed. I mean, think about it. Think about who the division winners are right now in the American League. They're the Rays, the White Sox, and the Astros.
And the Astros are just 2.5 up on the Rangers and the Mariners. They're 2 games above 500. But, we were talking about how different the 2 leagues were. There's only 2 non-playoff teams in the NL that are above 500. The Marlins and the Padres, a whopping 3 games above 500. The Pirates are back down to 500. The Cardinals, who have just fallen apart. We said they were over their skis for the first half of the season. They're now a game below 500. The Nats have been losing everything. I mean, the Nats and the Reds are basically in the same spot now, and the Reds have been dead for seemingly 3 weeks, David. By the way, do you see the Red Sox? Now, they didn't make the move, but the Red Sox did inquire on Dela Cruz.
Awesome.
And, hey, I mean, just the fact that it got out there.
Good. Yeah. And the Reds might have said, no way. That's okay.
Well, and from the way I read it, it's that they didn't just say no way. They said who? And then they said no. It's like, what are you giving us? That's not nearly enough. Thanks for the phone call.
Right.
But it tells me one thing that it got out there is that, David, if you're the Reds, you said this a month ago, you're probably not keeping him when his contract's up.
Nope.
And if you are, is that your guy you're getting over the floor with? That's the other thing, David. With the lockout coming, if you held on to guys and you're below what you think the floor is going to be, is this your way of saying, well, we can sign A and B and make sure we get to the floor?
I would love somebody to answer this question. If there's no baseball next year, does that year count on your contract? Like, if you have 2 years left on your contract going into next year, do you have 1 when it's over if a game wasn't played? Because we all know the answer to, if they end up playing some games, that's going to count as a year. It's going to be a prorated thing, blah, blah, blah. But, for as much as teams are paying attention, Mark, to when guys are eligible for free agency, I mean, it's kind of a big deal with Skeens and De La Cruz. So am I losing a year if I'm the Pirates and the Reds?
I don't know the answer, but I would bet everything they play baseball next year. Now, I don't. May 15th, Mother's Day? Like literally, Mother's Day, I might take past, if you know what I mean. If it was past Mother's Day or before Mother's Day, I might say that's about when I think things get settled, if you know what I mean. Like do we see baseball by Memorial Day? I think that's, and I know they're only a couple of weeks apart, but that's about where I see it happening.
People are asking if there's no baseball, do the players get paid? No.
No.
No, they get paid to play. They don't get paid to sit at home, whether it's their doing or the owner's doing. There's no collective bargaining agreement. No one's getting paid.
If I told you Mother's Day over or under, where would you go?
Over.
If I told you Memorial Day, where would you go?
Over.
Wow. Wow. You know what David may get next year? A shortened season. His half season lick. Miller and Moulton.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You know, Javier, I got to be honest, it does a little bit. Thank you very much. Your kind words and other people's I don't care if you disagree with me. That's never bothered me. But it is just amazing to me that when I actually ask a question of someone, I'm wrong all the time. I'm a jerk. You don't know anything. It's like, wow. As I tried to say, I try to use you guys to help the show. I truly do. And when he's all over the place, I'm wondering what he's doing. And, and then when, Johnny O, who likes to get after us too, you came, you saw, what did he conquer? He conquered being a jerk. What did he conquer? Did he conquer me? I don't think so. If you do, great. But I don't think he conquered me. I actually offered to sit down with him. I don't want to sit with you. Okay, well then fine. Whatever.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till we're out of here on this first Tuesday of August. Seth Everett scheduled to join us tomorrow. Phil Steele on Thursday. And we'll have Pat Kerwin on at some point this week, live from a training camp.
Yeah, he shot me a text when we were talking to Rhett Bryan, said, I can come on now. I'm like, I know you probably can, but I can't. I'm talking Titans right now. He's on his training camp tours. He'll fit us in when he can. And when he gets back, it's Tuesdays and Fridays, baby. It's time. We're knee deep into it. Do you know the Hall of Fame game's in 2 days? I know you care about it, but the Hall of Fame game is in 2 days.
Yep. What's it? Carolina, Arizona?
Boy, that's a barn burner. I mean, everybody, if there's a game people are looking for, I am going to put it up. It will be our poll question on Thursday. How much are you going to watch? The open, first quarter, all of it, none of it. I mean, those are probably the answers. Because so many of you, and I don't just mean our listeners, I have friends that are this way. I guarantee you when I play golf tomorrow and I see Gino from Boston, he's going to be, we got football tomorrow night.
If he says that with his Red Sox going like 32-12 in their last 44, and if he's asking about the Carolina-Arizona game in any way, shape, or form, he needs to be slapped. You got to be kidding me.
I'm just telling you, he'll flip to it at some point between innings. By the way, I had to check to make sure, Thursday can be a getaway day. Now they're playing the White Sox. It's a 7:10 start at Fenway.
There you go.
That's a biggie right there. I mean, that playoff preview, David.
Hey, it's the 2 and the 5 seed right now.
No.
There better not be any snark there.
There's not. There's not. Holy crap. The White Sox might make the playoffs. Come on.
As
How
the
much
2
money
seed,
how much money would you have lost to me if I'd have said, you know what? I'm going to take the White Sox to make the playoffs. How much you want to bet they do?
and I would have asked, is there a salary cap available in this bet? Because otherwise, I'm going to be betting at least 5 figures.
Right.
And I mean big 5 figures. I mean, I ain't talking a 1 or a 2. No, I'm getting into the mid 5 figures, thinking about should we just go 6 figures here?
It is amazing. Absolutely amazing.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
All right, I got one old school one for you. We go to 1753. G-Dub. George Washington becomes a master mason at the age of 21. David, this one is for you. Today in 1910, Jack Coombs and Ed Walsh had a pitching duel. Coombs for the Philadelphia A's, Walsh for the White Sox. They dueled to a 0-0 tie after 16 innings.
There you go.
Miller and Moulton, who want the tie in baseball. We don't want runners on second. We want the game called after, I think I was 12, you might be 11, but we could have settled out of court on that one. 1914, kind of a biggie today. Germany declares war on Belgium, Britain declares war on Germany, and Woodrow Wilson issues his proclamation of neutrality to keep the U.S. out of the war in Europe. We got some land today in 1960. Denmark and the U.S. sign a treaty whereby the Danish West Indies, including the Virgin Islands, are ceded to the U.S. for 25 schmil.
What year was this?
1916. 1936, Jesse Owens wins his second gold at the Berlin Games, defeating German Lux Long in the long jump final with an Olympic record. President Eisenhower authorizes $46 million for the construction of the CIA headquarters today in 55. 1972, the movie Superfly is released. The soundtrack from Curtis Mayfield, soul music, baby. Some biggies in 84. Carl Lewis wins gold in the 100, the first of 9 gold medals for him over 3 games. And Prince's Purple Rain goes to #1, the album. It would stay there for 24 weeks. 85, 2 baseball, 1 golf. I'll start with the one that's probably the least popular, the golf. Scott Verplank beats Jim Thorpe in a playoff, becoming the first amateur to win a PGA Tour event since Gene Littler did it in 1954. I always thought Verplank was going to be like a great pro, seeing him win as an amateur. He had an okay career, but...
Jim Thorpe, right? So we beat?
Yeah.
I interviewed Jim Thorpe 6 years later at a PGA Tour event in upstate New York and asked him about it. And he was cool. He didn't resent the question. He said, hey, guess it was going to happen sometime. I had to be the guy. He said, listen, he played great, and that's a hard course.
But didn't Thorpe still get first place money because Verplank couldn't get paid?
Sure
there
did.
you go. That's why he's not bitter about the question, David. Here are the 2 other ones at 85. Pretty remarkable to me that these happened on the same day, David. Rod Carew, then with the Angels, gets a single off of Twins Frank Viola to get his 3,000th hit. That same day, in the Bronx, Tom Seaver, pitching for the White Sox, wins his 300th game. I mean, that to me is pretty remarkable. You don't have a lot of those in either sport, that Carew gets 3,000 the same day Seaver gets 300th win.
And Seaver, as you mentioned, won it in New York. So that was pretty special. He also threw a complete game. And I believe at the time, Seaver's 40, 41.
He was the 17th pitcher to get to 300. All right, today in 86, the USFL owners suspend operations for the 86 season before the 4th season after winning their $3 in the antitrust suit against the NFL.
Yeah, they were hoping for a little more.
Today in 93, Tony Gwynn gets 6 hits against the Giants. It was the 4th time of the season that Gwynn had 5 or more hits in a game. You can do 3 hours on Tony Gwynn stuff.
You sure could. Do you know who would do it for you? Greg Maddox. He ate Maddox, Smoltz, and Glavin alive. You should listen to them talk about Gwynn.
Well, that's of all the guests I've wanted John Smoltz on this show for 20 years, and we've never got him. Product of Lansing Waverly, for what it's worth. Today in 06, Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby is released in theaters. 2007, Barry Bonds ties Hank Aaron's record of 755. On the same day, A-Rod at 32 becomes the youngest to hit 500. 3 years later, A-Rod would reach 600. 2012, Michael Phelps wins his 18th gold medal in the 4x100 relay. Louis Vuitton, without him, we wouldn't have to spend so much damn money for a purse. Queen Elizabeth, Louis Armstrong, Rocket Richard, and Caldwell Jones would have all celebrated birthdays today. Billy Bob Thornton, 71. Jerry Cooney, the great white hope. What a donut. He's 70. Mary Decker, she was big. Do you remember how big Mary Decker was? And then she fell in that race and lost, right?
The Olympics.
Yeah, she's 68. Barack Obama, 65. Roger Clemens, 64. Jeff Gordon's 55. And David's favorite, Meghan Markle, is 45 years old today.
Not my favorite. I'm just on her side. That's all. I think they're targeting her because she's an easy target. And I love the fact that a biracial American D-Force-A actress is tearing up British royalty. I just love that. Man, are we getting back at them. Love it.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Well, we go to Gastonia, North Carolina for the good. Hello. Kayla Jeffries had never bought a scratcher, and she decided to make an impulse buy while stopping for gas. $100,000. She takes home $72,000. She's going to buy a car and save for school. Good for her. I would love, and I didn't watch the video, but it exists. We go to Memphis for the bad, where Roderick Duncan went to the FedEx store to pick up his new pet, and employees asked to see what was inside the box labeled live animal. Well, Duncan opens the box to remove his new pet iguana when the lizard decides to jump out and make a run for it. Employees are panicked and running for cover. One FedEx employee was able to use some boxes to create a barricade to keep the name Titan iguana in a corner so Duncan could pick him up. Who the hell wants a pet iguana? They're invading my golf course, for crying out loud. I can't stand them. For the ugly, we go to Nebraska, where what can't you fix, David?
Stupid.
And this 21-year-old man is that, because he went to a sporting goods store in Lincoln to pick up his new gun. And he gave his girlfriend the phone and said, take a video of me demonstrated how to use the gun. So he racked the pistol and he shot himself in the leg. He went all Plaxico. He's going to have surgery. He's going to live. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, August the 4th, here on Miller and Moulton, brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department. Hiring new officers, great pay, great benefits, other jobs available. For all information, capecops.com, capecops.com.
All right. Everybody's playing in baseball tonight. 5 series that got underway yesterday are still pretty compelling. Tampa Bay's in Colorado. Yankees are home for the Cardinals. Cubs are hosting the Dodgers. Pirates and Brewers is an interesting series. Pirates got back to 500. They're only 3.5 out. And Arizona, San Diego playing for a wild card positioning. 2 series that get underway tonight, Mark. Marlins in Atlanta to face the Red Hot Braves, and the Red Sox hosting the White Sox.
Well, deadline has come and gone. It was active. Let's see what it brings. You know, I look at little things like the Rays, not so much because of the deadline. You're playing the Rockies. Man, a sweep would be great here. Get every W you can. We talked about the opportunity they had, a month ago against the Yankees when they didn't get 3 or 4 in that series and they split. The Yankees are hanging around, David, and they're going to get healthy at some point. And the Red Sox are red hot.
Well, there you go. They're 5 back in the loss column, 5.5 in the standings. There's 2 full months. There's 8 weeks of baseball left here. Okay, 5 games is not a lot of games, especially since they're division teams. I'm pretty sure they each have 1 series left against each other.
1 each. The Rays host both, if I'm not mistaken. No, they host the Red Sox, go to the Bronx for 4. Host the Red Sox for 3, go to the Bronx for 4. I got a funny feeling those 4 games in the Bronx towards the end of the season, David, are going to determine the champion of that division.
Well, and hopefully for the Yankees, Judge is playing.
Miller and Moulton. Seth Everett on the show tomorrow. A reminder, millerandmoulton.com. Sign up for our Fantasy Football Summit. Have a great day.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, Beat Cape.
Fantasy football season is here, and there's only one place to get the edge. Join Miller and Moulton for the Fantasy Football Summit with Dr. Roto at Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, Tuesday, August 11th, 7 p.m. Get championship-winning draft strategies, sleeper picks, busts to avoid, and answers to all your fantasy questions from one of the nation's top experts, Dr. Roto. Whether you're playing for bragging rights or big money, don't draft without this event. Tuesday, August 11th, the Fantasy Football Summit at Shoeless Joe's with Dr. Roto. Sign up, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.